All right. Welcome to the Dungeons of Castle Blackmoor, everybody. Always a pleasure to see you. Today, we are, let's see, doing a ball and a bunch of other things. And what's kind of interesting for us here is we've been moving through a whole bunch of things politically, and they've all kind of just sort of distilled down to this moment. So I'm really looking forward to running this, and I'm looking forward to having a really interesting palette of NPCs to share with you and to share with my players. So because we always do, let's talk briefly about our table rules. We have a couple things that we do every time, and they kind of apply in every game that we have. First thing we do every time is we always encourage players to respond in character to. Wow, Tad's having a great morning. Always encourage players to respond in character, and we assume that they are in character in almost all instances. So there's some things that are clearly mechanical, and those mechanical things step out, like we're talking about timing or pacing or planning on what we're going to do in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But in general, anytime you're in a conversation with each other or involving NPCs, the assumption is they're in character, and that can change the responses of the NPCs. So if you're in front of the prince and you're talking about how to execute a con game on the prince, that affects his behavior. Second thing, die rolls are the players with the exception of skill rolls. Those I almost always make private. And the reason I do that is so people respond to the information I give them about their environment, not the mechanics of the roll. Most saving throws and most combat rolls are public. The players can see what they do. They can see what the totals are sometimes on what my NPCs do. But for the most part, we use that information to help them get deeper into character. So that's kind of how we approach it. Uh, that being said, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to give our players a chance to introduce themselves, talk a little bit about their character, and then we'll get right into it. Jewnnabink, would you like to introduce yourself, talk about your character briefly?
Sure. My name's Jen, and I'm playing Jewnnabink. She is an adorable artificer gnome. Apparently, I'm having the same problems as Tad today, and she is completely not looking forward to going to a ball. She doesn't like having to deal with people. Her workshop and building things is much better. So this should be an interesting opportunity to see her fail in public.
I think that's outstanding, and I'm looking forward to watching you in that environment also. It's going to be excellent. So, all right. Mr. Gannon, sir, would you talk about your family's ball this afternoon?
So, I know that several high profile people are going to be at the ball, and several low profile people are going to be at the ball. So it should be interesting. Uh, uh, I invited a guest, and my my mother also invited guests. So we shall see what happens there. Let's see. Uh, my my sister is also going to be there, and that could be hijinks as well. I don't know that it will be, but it definitely could be. And um, yeah, I'm still working on my cup of bean juice, so I'm not sure I'm quite focused yet, but I'm getting there.
Excellent. I think that actually simulates the hangover you all have from the light activities. So,
Oof.
Mr. Legan, so please let me know what you see.
My name is Philip Slamma. I am currently repping Idris Regan. Also, I'm promoting go out and vote. Doesn't matter who you vote for, just do it. Get it done. Because that's what Idris is going to be doing here. He's going to be shaking hands, greasing palms, figuring out who he can move. Because in Blackmoor, they don't vote; they just take power. So it's a great chance for Idris to find out where everybody stands. Make some new alliances, throw some people under the bus if it existed. Gnomes get on that, all that kind of stuff. And basically, I think the thing he's trying to figure out now: can he take his weapon with him? because he doesn't really want to leave that in his apartment. So that's his current dilemma before he walks through these doors. Oh, and getting his alcohol from Red. That's right, making sure it's delivered. So,
Under all circumstances, as a noble, you may wear a sword. You may wear your weapons. Never a
Right.
challenge.
boom, until you get challenged.
So, Penny, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, my name's Matt. I'm playing Penny today, and kind of like Jenna, I'm not super looking forward to social interactions with people. Penny kind of hates everybody equally, and just spending time around a bunch of nobles who she considers worse than most thugs or thieves is not how Penny ideally wants to spend her day. And Penny's probably going to end the day in jail, just FYI, so everybody's aware.
So, outstanding.
But it's a Blackmoor jail, so that's like a bed and breakfast, to be honest.
All right. So, night before, I think we were at the night before the soiree. You had all done the business that you need to do in the afternoon. And Penny and Jewnnabink had successfully gone out with Frida Galen to do the shopping that they needed to do prior to the event. Where are you guys staying tonight? Who is doing what tonight? Going to the comeback inn?
I'll be staying at the comeback inn, yeah.
Staying at the comeback inn? Staying at home?
Yeah, I'll be at the apartment.
Going to your apartment?
So Jewnnabink has a laundry list of things that she must do tonight.
Okay,
Oh,
very good.
wait, I'm sorry. No, not the apartment. I'm going to the Hirsch place.
The ball is actually tomorrow, correct?
Correct. Tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. Now, the day tomorrow is filled with all sorts of things. Remember, they have those series of races that happen across Blackmoor in the morning. It's the spring equinox. It's the spring festival. You're through winter, and winters are hard here. All right, and you guys have been dealing with it just getting gradually warmer since you started in early winter.
What am I going to be doing? I'm going to be focusing on something that
Hang on, we have Jim. We have the stream apparently is flecked out again. Looks like
I
it's
see
good.
it.
Yeah, it looks like it's
Yeah.
good. Keep going. All right.
I'm going to be focusing on something that doesn't have anything to do with the dungeon or the mission. Just kind of a me day, a day that I can kind of relax a little bit. So what I'm actually going to be doing is taking a little time and enchanting the brooch so that the wings flutter on the fairy. It doesn't have to last more than a day. It's just a cool little visual effect. And yeah, that'll work.
What do you have for cantrips?
Mending, prestidigitation, shocking grasp, toll the dead.
Toll the dead. All right. If you, what I'll let you do there because I think it's interesting, is if you give up prestidigitation for the day, you can be powering that. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
All right. Very good. So that's what you're going to be doing the next day. Let's see. PJ, you're going to Two Coins Tavern, going to party. What's
That's right.
Penny? Are you still in take a break mode, or what do you want to do?
Jenna, you're shopping?
No, I am not shopping. As a matter of fact, Jewnnabink will have
doing
made it a point after shopping to talk to Penny.
Okay. I just need to do some minor shopping, like miscellaneous things, but nothing major.
All right. If you want to role play the shopping, let me know. If not, I am fine with you just adding in whatever items that you want to add in. So if you're not checking your contacts, or you're not looking for anything that's illicit, absolutely.
No, just a couple small blades.
All right. No problem at all then. No problem at all.
Penny, when you're out shopping, if you have, if you come upon something that you wish to have me magically enhance for you, so you can kill things with it more magically, I will do that for you. It can substitute. Since I can't believe that you will somehow although you're very resourceful, I don't understand how you would get a short bow into the ball tonight. So I can fix that for you tonight if you give it to me before I go to bed.
Oh no, you can leave it on the short bow. That's fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, okay.
All right, very good. Penny, feel free to go ahead and make whatever adjustments you want for shopping. Delbert, we know what you're doing today and into the party tomorrow. PJ, we'll take you over to Two Coins Taverns. Jewnnabink, is there anything specifically you want me to role play out with you?
No, although I do, from an informational standpoint, want to know if my light hammer would have fit into some portion of the dress. I would imagine yes, because it's only a light hammer.
I would say let's pull up your dress real quick, take a look at it, and you tell me how you would try and integrate it. All right. So you got the black dress, correct?
I did get the black dress, the very matronly, stay away from me dress.
All right. So here's the dress that you chose. Tell me what you would do to hide something in that.
So a light hammer is presumably about the size of your normal ball peen. Therefore, it should be able to be strapped to my leg. And please, no short jokes. So that it will be well under the petticoats and not noticeable.
All right. So it'll be a full, because it's secured, I'm going to declare it a full round action to take it out and use it. Does that seem reasonable to you?
That seems reasonable to me.
All right, so we can do that. I'm not gonna make you, do anything more complex than that. I think that's fair.
Okay.
So, all right, so that works for me. All right, so we are at the Two Coins Tavern, correct, PJ?
Yeah, that's correct. I'm actually going to go see if I can go past Red's and buy one of those little flasks of alcohol he had. One of those.
Yeah, you have time to do that. You'll be going back in the same day and going, oh, by the way, I decided I really want, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I need to give something up to make it work.
All right, no problem at all.
So I'm going to buy the equivalent of 25 gold pieces worth of stuff from him, of that alcohol.
All right, that works.
And then at the Two Coins Tavern, I'm going to get some of that 500. What is it, casks he said, or barrels he said he had? I'm like, get me some of that, and let me get 25 gold pieces worth of it, and right. I'll take that to the Two Coins Tavern, and that's what I'll use as part of my sacrifice in the fire. There.
You go rolling into the Two Coins Tavern, and immediately you see. It's almost like he's been waiting for you. You were approached by Paul Capstraw, and this is one of your dad's more active agents. He had been in town for about 2 days. He brought up a caravan from the south out of Bramwald, and he hadn't come to you directly, but he now is coming to you directly, and it's almost like he waited for you to be off-site and by yourself.
All right. Is he seated or anywhere in there, or is he standing there?
He's seated. He sees you come in. He's got one of his guards with him, most likely. He nods at the guy, and he stands up. And the guy, as he stands up, points towards a chair and walks away. And Paul just sort of massages his beard and waits for you.
All right, I'll head over to him.
Idris, it's good to see you.
It's good to see you, Mr. Capstraw, looking as fine as ever today.
Thank you, Idris. You seem to be comporting yourself well. I've delivered your communication, your last round of communication from your father, and I've perused what you have ready to send to him again, and I'll be taking that. Are you ready for instruction?
Yeah. I live to serve, Father.
As I understand it, you have successfully infiltrated the Galen household, and they've taken you into their confidence?
Well, I mean, yeah, the door is usually open. You just walk in. So, yes.
Well, outstanding then. Your father is very interested in chipping away some of the shipping contracts that they have secured with the dwarves from Uberstar's Mountains in the region of the mines, the Kingdom of the Mines. And in specific, there's a dwarven noble called Dorain Ulunt, who we believe will be at their ball tomorrow night. Your father would like you to begin to work him and see if we can chip him loose. We really want direct access to his ore. We don't want a middleman. We want to be able to ship directly south, not have to go through Blackmoor and have it processed. We'd like to be able to handle that process for ourselves, both the smelting also. And secondly, we want to know what he needs to support the deal. I mean, find out what his interests are, find out what he is looking for, and give us some actionable things that we can grab hold of and move forward with. And make clear that anything is on the table in terms of goods, if you understand what I mean.
Sure. I mean, I can chip away at it. You just give me a rock hammer, 25 years, and 6 feet of stone. I'll get through it. Just need a poster to cover my tracks.
I believe you're well-resourced right now, are you not?
I mean, you can never be too well-resourced. I mean, am I right?
Well argued, but I will note that I did see a suit of plate armor hit on the balance book for this month.
Well, technically it was 2 months ago, but I mean, who's keeping track? It's not like I wear it. It's not like I can carry it. It's heavy, you know. I got to work out. I got to put in my wind sprints.
Oh, well argued. But I believe you are well into what we would consider reasonable dispensation. I don't think you're in danger of being cut off or having, your normal stipend restricted because you've been so successful in accomplishing the task set forward for you by your father. But at the same time, I'm not really in a position right now to be more profligate with his lord's resources. You can understand this.
I can, but what am I able to offer Mr. Darian Iloot?
Find out what he wants. Really. Find out what his vices are. Can he be compromised? Understand his character. We believe this is a dwarven noble who is slightly bitter because he has not been able to extract full value from his relationship. He is in a secondary role under Uberstar, and his clan has not been able to profit to the level that he would like. We also believe that he is developing some steam-based technology that he would like to make the most amount of money off of, and right now that's bottlenecked and has to pass through the king and through the Regency Council. So there's going to be some opportunities for us to perhaps improve our position with him. And really what your father is depending on you to do is what you do best. Be friendly, be harmless, be amusing, get the information we need and bring it back. And then we'll ask you to work his social levers and his personal levers and see what you can extract from him. So I would say that what we have seen recently from you has far exceeded your father's expectation. You have steadily done what you've been asked to do. You've wormed your way into the good graces of people that we didn't think would ever trust you, and you have lifted the family's name. So you most certainly have earned a little bit of respect from your father, and he does send his regard.
Well, it's good to know the old man respects progress.
So is there, I sit high in his council. Is there anything you need in terms of advice? Anything that you're encountering that you're worried about?
I am dealing with a challenge to my leadership authority. What tips do you have for that?
Within what context?
Within the group itself. Another noble. What would you do?
Sometimes it's not important to win. Sometimes it's important to have influence that you need. He will make an error. When he makes a gross error, support him, stand him back up. He's a solid sort. He's very simple, very straightforward, very, from what I can tell, very just in terms of how he approaches things. Classic worshiper of Odir. So what I would say is support him well, lead in those areas that only you can lead in. As he falls, lift him back up, and by positioning yourself with the moral high ground, you can migrate their veneration of him to you through the straightforward process of earning their trust. So this group must be your cohorts. They must be your sword hands. They must be your right-hand people. They have to trust you. You need to be as transparent as you can, because I think, especially with that little decry you travel with, that they will smell betrayal in a heartbeat.
They could if they would. I tried working the mother. She seems like an easy mark. What do you think about her?
Frida? Oh my God. Ward yourself, lad.
Oh, why? Why?
Why?
Seems like an old lady with gray hairs who loves my journal that I gave her.
So Frida Galen is a delacorte from Mouse. And there are all different approaches to being nobles. And her family is known for and quite adept at all sorts of commerce. I would never accuse another noble family of being smugglers, no. I would never accuse another noble family of understanding the dark side of commerce, but Frida, when she was young, carried a rapier, and God help you if she was on the other side of you when her husband Reginald was swinging that great axe of his.
Oh, so she's like a taller version of Penny with less scars.
One might say that, yes, although she is clearly a noble, and she has lifted the Galens. She has never, that we know of, reverted to the previous activity she had before she met and fell in love with Reginald, and they became married and started having their family. But I would assume that she sees through you and everyone in heartbeats. The easier mark in that family is Reginald. He's a very good and just man, but he is all trade, all business, and is good and law-abiding in the most extreme sense, and does not move much from that. That makes him easy to deal with and hard to deal with at the same time, as I doubt you were finding in his son Delbert also.
Yeah, I mean, who would have known his son is quick to move with those tiny little daggers.
So,
Bah! Surprised the hell out of me. I thought he would have been chucking spells being a wizard, but no, you got to watch out. He come up behind you and magic missile you with a dagger 4 times.
his choice is his choice. I don't
Crazy,
understand
yo.
it in the same way, but he is a Hythonian. So,
Yeah.
I
Some
see.
good advice.
I saw in the last letter that you delivered some concern about the Grax family. What is that?
The Grax family.
3 girls, apparently.
Oh, yes. So, at the ball tonight, there's going to be 3 ladies. They tried to get Galen hooked up with one of them, but he did the old 2-step sidestep and brought a lady of his own to get out from under it. They tried to get me to do it, but I hooked up with Alwyn Moreland, you know what I mean? So I got out of that. But I still was thinking, hey, we got lots of Regans. Guys, they got lots of ladies. If you need to lock anything up, they're on the prowl.
Assess, evaluate, be cordial, don't alienate them, and see perhaps if you think there might be an opportunity there. I imagine that, I think his name is Corwin Grax, the father there. He'll be most direct in, testing what your intentions are and what your plans are. I'd say respond well to him. Don't outright lie, but, don't commit. And then evaluate his daughters, and you think if any one of them is a sharp enough edge to stand as a Regan.
Will do. All right. Well, I got to go do a little more prep work. I thought I was going to have some time to gamble away here, but it looks like I got to make a little more shopping trips.
And he describes the dwarf to you that you'll be looking for in very precise terms. So you have a very good, clear idea who that individual is.
Oh, I totally did not spell his name right.
Says, well, always, not always a pleasure, but always of interest when I see you, Idris. And you are coming into your own with your family, and I want you to know that you should understand what you've accomplished and be proud of it.
All right. I'm actually going to leave. I thank him. I'm actually going to get out of there as fast as I can and get back to Red and get me some of that dwarven ale that he was selling.
Okay.
I want just another little thing, but if he can reserve me, I might have a potential buyer for him.
Be good. So I'm always looking for buyers now. So what's your plan here? You working on commission here, or are you going to try and turn the margin yourself?
For this, I'd rather do commission. I ain't got time to move all this stuff. I'd rather make the introduction, get the finder's fee, and get out.
All right. So here's what I'm thinking then. Why don't you pass the contact off to me? Let me close it. That way your hands aren't stuck in it too far. And, I promise you I'll flip you 10% of my profits.
I just need a sample of it so I can show him, what he's getting.
All right. He comes back with a jug. All right.
Okay.
It's got a clay plug on top of it. Looks like it's been sealed up a little bit. And you can see that it's got a slight vent, but he hands that over to you.
All right. Yeah, and I tell him if he doesn't end up buying, let me know how much this is, and I'll cover it on my end.
No. See, it's how we're knowing this sort of commerce. You go ahead and you do that. All right. That one's on me.
All right. Got my little thing. Test it. Oh, it's blue. It's pure. All right. I'm good.
So high specific gravity. This is freaking ale. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
then what I'm gonna just do, it doesn't have to be roleplay. I'm just gonna take the rest of my time and I'm gonna just go around with what little time I have left to just try and gather information with my persuasion around about the dwarf.
So I was in the first time I was seriously in an English pub. It was one of my friends in college, and they took me into the tavern on Queens College, right? And when I looked around, they had all these mugs that belonged to the people who were students there. And the older students always had a mug, and if you were drinking from one of the tavern's monks, after you paid your annual fee, you had to turn it in if somebody older than you came in. But what blew me away is the specific gravities of the ale were listed on the barrel. And you ordered by, I want this really fucking heavy beer, or I want this light beer, which is where the term lightweight comes from. So anyhow, I'm sorry.
That's funny.
I thought you'd appreciate
funny.
it. All right, so
We're gonna have a whole alcohol side hustle here in this campaign.
So anything else you want to do this evening?
No, I'm just gonna try and gather some information on him, so I have some points of interest to try and talk to him about before I start trying to probe.
The girls or the girls or
The dwarf.
the dwarf.
The dwarf. I can figure out the ladies.
All right. Where are you going to go to do that?
I would think the two places I'd want to go is like where, since he's in the mining and the ore. I'd see like what it's like with the forges that are currently in Blackmoor. Like what's his capacity? Like what is he at now? What could he be at? The capacity he could do. Kind of like in the drug running business. Can he expand? How much weight can he take? Kind of question to understand how backlogged he is. And then I would guess in Blackmoor there would be some kind of I'll just say embassy for the region of the mines, and see if I can just strike up some conversation and try and get in that way about like, hey, the Regans are interested in talking to this guy. What do we got to do to set up a meeting? Is there anything he likes? That kind of stuff.
Well, you're not going to be able to go through formal channels the day before.
Yeah,
the day before Easter. Think of it that way, right?
Yeah,
so probably. Go ahead and make just a straight up charisma check for me real quick.
All right.
All right. Best thing for you to do, you think, is the head foundryman for, your shop is actually a dwarf, right? Old dwarven mercenary who worked for your father. And, his name's Durin. And Durin's probably your best bet, just to talk to quickly and get a feeling for, what the politics of that family are and what their capacity are. Because your little production facility here makes armor, and it makes armor on a smaller scale out of ore that you purchase locally. So you purchase it, you smelt it yourself, and then you produce arms and armor out of it. There are other place smelters that you'll get ore from, you'll get metal from if, you have overflow or a big order, but you're trying to produce it as much as you can. What your dad's strategy is he's trying to vertically segment, right? So he wants to control his own distribution, he wants to control his own ore processing, and he wants to control his own production. What the Regans do, or what the Galens do, is the Galens are right here in the middle. They do a lot of trade, and what Reginald is very good at is establishing, because how tough his son is, his older son, right? How tough his older son is and how well they run caravans is get exclusive contracts to haul all the goods for folks because they don't get compromised. And that is just sort of the nature of how that family has been operating. And Colin, of course, Colin Galen is the older brother. You've seen him. He's that big, blonde-haired, strapping, huge guy. Hardcore
the guy's asking
fighter.
me all the questions.
Right. He's a hardcore fighter, man, and he actually was part of. He was actually, central part of the King's Guard at one point, working with the king and being part of the army during the last invasion. So he's well respected in military circles. So,
All right.
all right. And what the guy tells you is he says, "Oh yeah, well, I'd say best thing for us to do here, right? This fella's got a bent nose, and a lot of his folks have a bent nose because the uber stars keep their foot on their necks and control trade and make certain that they're making money off everybody else's business, right? So we got enough smelting capacity to support us. There's fair business for him here, but he's got to hand his piece over to the king, just like everybody else does here. So he's probably going to have handholds agreed, to be perfectly honest with you. Not saying me folk love gold more than we love anything else, but, that's the weakness.
Oh, and if instead he smelts in Bramwell, he just has to go south and doesn't have to deal with Blackmoor.
Right. He can take the south trade road and he can cut due south as opposed to running things to Blackmoor. All right. Now, Blackmoor's got a vested interest, in keeping things centralized here because it suits the king and helps him fight off his enemies. Helps us fight off our enemies, right? Right. But that's probably the play I'd be making, lad. Just listen to him.
All right.
So, hey, and he switches to Dwarven and he asks you a couple questions in Dwarven. Do you speak Dwarven?
I asked him if he can write it down.
Do you speak Dwarven?
I don't.
He's like, if you could
I can read it, but I can't speak it.
He says, if you could speak the true speech, well, that would help you. So,
Okay. So then I'm probably going to go talk to my Inquisitor buddy and be like, hey, you got any potions if I need to? We haven't talked in a while, bro. What's going on,
Oh, you're looking for the Inquisition?
Yeah, I'm like, hey, I need a favor. We haven't checked in a while. What's going on with you, man? Spin those plates.
It's absolutely, if you're actually looking or heading towards where you think you can find the Inquisitors, right? Their not their safe house, but
Yeah.
Vincent's home. Coming out of the crowd is Cork, and Cork walks beside you, and she goes, "Oh, you're having quite an interesting day, I see today. What did your father want?"
Put his boot on my neck, tell me what to do, make things happen. But I mean, look at me, I'm a freaking failure here. I can barely keep together myself. So you know how that's probably going to go. I'm going to get yelled at. He's going to cut off my stipend.
That requires a deception check.
Yeah. Suck it, Arcane Warrior. I'm going to throw a D6 behind that as well.
You burning a hero point here?
Hell yeah, this is what hero points are for. It's not for it's not for combat. This is the real deal, yo.
That, sir. Oh, man.
Don't be bringing no profectors around me.
That's how close that was.
Oh,
All right.
I
So
have to kick her in the knee and run.
Cork goes, "You're holding something back from me here, Idris. I don't necessarily know what it is, but I don't think you're being completely straight with me. So, what's going on?"
You got me. Look, I was told I got to talk to a dwarf, and I just talked to one of our smelters, and he was like, look, the best thing to do is talk to him in dwarven. But you know me, I don't have an ear for languages or a mouth for it. So I'm kind of looking for a potion that allows me to speak dwarven for a bit of time. I don't want to lose my money.
I don't know if we have that ready. I think there's a scroll of tongues, but a potion that would allow you to do that, or a item that would allow you to do that, I don't think we have that. But we'll be
scroll's
there.
fine.
We'll be there
Scroll's fine.
tomorrow. I'll be, there. Douglas will be there. It'll be good. Vincent will be there. You're going to have all the support you need in this conversation, and I'll make it my personal duty to help that conversation go well for you. How does that sound?
That's perfect. Bring the scroll. Stand right there. We'll be golden.
Excellent. Always a pleasure, Idris. And, we have your well-being, and your best performance is definitely in the vested interest of both Blackmoor and the Cabal. Good evening, sir.
Have fun blending into the shadows.
And she just gives you actually a very sincere smile. All right. So, and you're definitely getting a vibe. Go ahead and give me an insight here.
Sure. Was that skills? Oh, jeez.
Oh,
Remember, my emergency safe word is please help. That's
she
when you come out.
she sincerely enjoys fucking with you and talking to you and having a good time with you. All right. This is cat and mouse to her. You're definitely not. She takes you seriously, but she definitely thinks that she knows your game and she's on top of you. She's being a little bit arrogant about it.
Oh, for real? Oh, okay, so then I'll do this. I know she's playing around like that. I'd be like, hey, look, if you're looking for the real deal after the ball, we'll be heading to the sewers. If you want to be on the front lines with us, it wouldn't hurt to see what real action looks like.
She goes, she looks at you, smirks, and goes, if you require additional assistance from the Cabal, I would suggest you speak to our agent within your party, Delbert, and see if he feels it's necessary to pull an arcane warrior in to assist. Good day, sir.
Hey, I'll take as many as I can get. I love you guys.
She doesn't need to make an insight check for that.
Yeah, that's true. Well, no, I do love them whenever the egg shows up.
All right. Anything else you'd like to do before the party?
No, I think I'm good. And if she doesn't come, if she doesn't come with the scroll, I assume I'm going to see Alwyn before I get there.
Right.
I'm going to ask her, like, hey, you got tongues or something? Like, I'm going to ask her
Where are you staying?
I was at my apartment, but, I mean, now that I realize I got to speak Dwarven, I guess I got to figure out, hey, does she have anything like that?
Didn't Elwyn give you that sending stone, or did she give it to Delbert?
Oh, that's right. No, you're right. I did have the sending stone. You're right. I could just call her up on my Razor Mobile and be like, hey, babe, got a question.
So, all right, so it's a sending stone, so you send her a message, she sends a response, it's done.
Cool.
It's not like it's a full cell phone, although that would be a great magic item. Go ahead.
It's like the old school where you have to hit all the numbers to do the letters, and you're like, why you send a 6? What's up with that?
That's right.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, she's coming, so, yeah, I was like, yeah, I'll show that Arcane Warrior. We ain't doing nothing shitty. We're just doing business. I'm good.
All right. What you asking her where she's at and if you can meet up? Is that what you're asking her exactly?
Yeah, because I want to make sure we get there together.
All right. She says, "Where are you staying at? I'll just I'll overnight with you."
Oh, then we'll go to her place at
Come back in.
I won't stay at the apartment.
Yeah, when you get there and you talk to her, she is trying on. She's trying on some of the clothes, the outfit that she's planning on wearing, And so she is, not in her traveling attire, which is what you see her most of the time wearing. She is
Performance level.
Yeah, she definitely has changed what she's wearing. And
is it black? I'm just curious.
No. She's very much dressing. She's dressing in blue. She's dressing in black. She is not making herself formally available. The little hat she's wearing is definitely peasant. It's stylized. It's almost like she is attacking the expectations of class. All right. She is formally dressed, but presenting herself as a Thonian and presenting herself as a Thonian proudly. And, she's happy to see you when, she'll get there. And she says, all right, dear. So, what do you got planned? What trouble are you getting into?
Business deals. I got to talk to a dwarf. It'd probably go over better if I could speak Dwarven. But I don't have 70 to 90 days to do my Rosetta Stone programs at this time.
Oh, you need a tongue spell? Is that what you're saying? Because I can do that for you.
Yes. I mean, I can reciprocate as well, but, mine is not magical.
No, I can cast tongues for you. That's fine, Idris. That's no problem at all. So, now, something I wanted to be clear to you about, and I'm glad we're here so we can have this conversation now, is, there's going to be a swarm of sweet young things all over you.
Oh, yeah, they tried to pair me off with a couple of them before, and I was like, nope. I'm going to have to disappoint them, let them down gently, but see if I can find them somebody else.
What do you think is going on between the two of us?
I think this, and I look her dead in the eyes. Yeah, I know, Jenna. It's that conversation. It came early, episode 19. I got it. I'm on it. Look her dead in the eyes, and I'm like, look, I think this has a partnership that can go all the way. Like Captain and Tennille, like Elton John and that lady who sang Philadelphia Freedom together, whose name I can't remember. Bertie Higgins and that lady in Key Largo. It's all the way, There's nobody else for me. I mean, look, you're perfect. You are knowledgeable about all kinds of things. You already drank my blood. That's a huge plus. Nobody else is doing that. So, I mean, that's dedication. I mean, I got to reciprocate that. I think it's great because, it kind of shows other people like, hey, this person understands great and cultured things, and he's trying to better himself,
Idris, how old are you?
That's a great question. I did not write it down. Numbers. Here. I'll do it the old-fashioned way. Blam. So there you go, 21. I guess I'll take that.
I'm 36.
You don't look 36. You look great for 36.
It's my profession. It's what I have to be. It's also, you've been in the dungeon. Sometimes time does weird things, right?
It does.
So, you're cute, you're sweet, you're smart. I have a great time with you, but I'm not going to be any man's property.
Oh, and I wouldn't expect you to. I don't like being my father's property. I totally get where you're coming from.
All right. So if we agree, so you do what you got to do for your family. All right. If you got to chase one of these sweet young things, you got to marry one of these sweet young things, whatever, I totally get it. If you want to just break from your family tradition and be with me, we can do that also. So I'm just putting it on the table for you. All right. You is Idris Regan. We can have a good time. We can enjoy each other. We can do things together. We can teach each other. We can support each other. We can do all sorts of things. But it can't be more than a really good time and close friends who support each other and occasionally spend the night together. That's what it's going to be. Now, if you want...
So you're telling me I'm going to have to knock off my father and then I've got a chance. Because when you're the head of the family, you can do what you want.
I didn't quite expect you to process that in that way. And that truly gives me insight into your character in ways that I didn't anticipate, but...
Haven't you seen my dream journal?
You're sweet, Idris. I see what you could be. I see the dark you could be. I see the light you could be. And I'm with you and I watch you make your choices, and they might affect our relationship. But... I want the best for you. I respect your love of art. I respect what you have inside of you. So, as you make choices, know I'm here to help you make them. And here's the thing. So, have you ever actually been to Thonia? Have you been into the Empire?
So far to the south, and they're all stuffy and old, Golden Empire, man, it's looking a little tarnished there, if you know what I mean.
Well, they're also corrupt. I would be a common man's property for having sex with you, honestly. As a, Thonian female who chooses to have a relationship with a High Thonian or has been chosen to have a relationship with High Thonian out of wedlock, I would be considered a prostitute and I would lose control of my sexuality. That's the Thonian Empire. If you're a Decry or a Haveling in the Thonian Empire, you're a little better than a serf or a slave. If you're a dwarf, you can be purchased, you can be branded, you can be used to make items at the will of the state. And elves are in a slightly better situation, but it's because of the martial force they'll deploy and the magical force they'll deploy. So, and we won't even talk about what the Peshwa have to go through. Unfortunately, the Thonian Empire sees the Peshwa and the Afridi as no different, and they're different.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Blackmoor is the one true hope on the continent that I see. So I stand with Blackmoor and I try and move it forward. I hope you choose the same. And I think you do. Everything I've seen you do has been true. I see you under tremendous pressure all the time, but everything I've seen you do is true. So, now, I think we should shut the fuck up, drink too much, and copulate like Robinson Spring on hormone supplements. What do you think?
Hey, as long as you're down for it, I'm good for it.
Always. You know, I got a 21-year-old Hythonian who can keep rolling all night long. I think we keep rolling all night long. You ready for it, son?
Boom! Talk about role reversal. Who's the
All right.
Hythonian now?
All right.
I'm gonna need you guys to roleplay this out, or else it's gonna ruin my immersion.
So,
And magical darkness.
so that's right. And fade to black. All right. So it's morning. We're all at our various places. Now, folks out there watching this, right? One of the things that I love about my players is all the in-character stuff that we just did that could potentially compromise Idris. My players won't use because they don't have direct knowledge of it. They won't even prompt for it unless they've got a way to in character. They're just going to roll and watch for things. All right. Now that does a couple things. It lets us have some really interesting in character role playing in front of you and in front of each other, and it also does give them opportunities to use their insight in the way they would if they were immersed in a relationship with everyone on a day-to-day basis. Those little ticks and signals that you see. So I really enjoy that, and I want to thank everybody for that sort of engagement. So that being said, it's morning. Go ahead.
Before morning, I got a couple of questions. First of all, does the Galen household have a symbol or sigil? I may have asked this already.
Yeah, we had talked about designing it and we never did. So you may make the coat of arms yourself and share it back if you'd like.
Fair enough. But is there like an animal that you have in mind, or is it just whatever?
A ferret.
Dragon is royal, right? That belongs to the king. Anything else, I think, is in play. You could do a griffin. You could do any sort of shamanic beast like that, or you could do something like a bear. You guys are known as traveling merchants, so it would be legitimate also to do something like, a horse. Anything like that would work too. So, or you could do something really abstract. Your family has always been about fidelity to the state, so you could do something like, 3 hearts, or something like, the equivalent of the tarot card of justice. You have all sorts of stuff you can do.
Otters.
I like the coat of arms for you. There you go.
Stabby McStab. That's kind of brilliant.
Okay. Next thing, completely unrelated. Hang on 1 second. I'm sorry.
So, we all know that is being spoused, correct?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So while he is being otherwise bludgeoned and has gotten aggro in other ways, Jewnnabink needs to tonight spend a lot of time in her room at the Comeback Inn, repurposing Catapult to his new form.
And what new form will that be?
He will be an emperor penguin, because penguins are tuxedos and therefore formal.
I believe, you are at full inventory on inspiration. So I'm not going to load you up again, but I just want you to know that touches me in a special way. So, penguin.
Yes, penguin.
Outstanding.
And also she'll be working on infusions, transferring it from her Warhammer to her Lighthammer. So that's what she's got. But she's got workshop stuff to do tonight.
All right, excellent.
Put that armor enhancement on your dress.
No, because I told Penny I was leaving it on her short bow. So I got a short bow, I got a light hammer, but I also have an emperor penguin that will peck you to death.
Jewnnabink always, always, always keeps her word.
Always.
Yeah. So, all
Which
right.
is why eventually Penny will stab her in the back because she's gullible.
Never. That hurts.
Not as much as the dagger.
So we tooled on you when you had to pull off because that's our obligation.
Yeah, I was actually getting wife. My wife is not even here, and I was getting wife. How about that?
So
The other thing that I was going to ask about is the drift globe that I've got. At
yes,
the bottom of it, it talks about being a spell focus. Is it a spell focus in the Blackmoorian sense?
if you could use it, but you'd give up. You'd have to carry your spell book with you at all times, and you'd give up having the spells encoded. Now, I suppose you could make a drift globe with the traditional, gem, the traditional focus that Blackmoor uses in the drift globe, but that one doesn't necessarily have that. So,
Okay, that's what I was asking. If it was actually
Yeah.
something where it was a spell focus that could be encoded like the spell book gem.
yeah. I will have to think that through deeper, but I don't think so. I think that would be a good use for a warlock, maybe a good use for a sorcerer, but for, a Kabbalist, you use that gem, and that gem gives you the advantage if it functions as a spell book simultaneously.
No
Okay.
worries. I
All
just saw it and I was curious and I was
You're like,
asking.
ooh, that's
Cast
cool.
light.
Um,
Cast light on your focus, and then just douse it with like a velvet silk kind of thing, and you're good to go.
so before the night is up, I'm going to cast Find Familiar and change Quickfoot into the family animal, which is going to be an osprey.
Outstanding. That's cool. So it's a seagull?
An osprey is more like it's a bird of prey, but they tend to go after fish.
Okay,
So
cool.
it's kind of hawk-like, but they're fisher birds rather than hunting mice and
Bravo,
and
Delbert.
land animals.
That's excellent. So, excellent choice. All right, you do that. Anything anybody else would like to do before we get into the Spring Festival? All right. Question for you, Delbert. Are you
Yes.
going to have the brooch delivered to Jessup, or are you going to give it to Jessup? Now, here's how that plays out for you in terms of etiquette within Blackmoor. If you have it delivered to her, you're saying it's your choice to put it on and make a statement about your relationship with me. If you give it to her, you are staking a formal claim.
I'm going to hold on to it. It has to be the right moment.
Very good. Very good. I respect that. All right. So if nobody has anything else they want to do tonight, is it morning? It's morning. All right. Today, let's see. Delbert, you're hanging out with your family, right?
Yes.
All right.
I think spending the night away from home is about as much leeway as I can get with Mommy Dearest, given what's going on today. I think that if I were to make myself scarce, I would probably be a pariah for the rest of the night.
So you slept at home then and did everything you need to do at home?
No, I slept at Blackmoor.
To come back in?
To come back in.
All right.
But I came immediately home the next morning.
Okay. So you're there for breakfast, right?
Yes, I'm there
Okay.
for breakfast.
You haven't seen, you haven't seen your, your sister.
Sister?
Yeah, and she's actually the oldest. and her husband, who is much older to you and is actually one of your mother's uncles, and they both live in Mouse. So they're present for breakfast, as is, and this is a full family breakfast. So you've got Frida, you've got Reginald, you've got Colin and his wife, and also Robert are there, and Megan's there. So this is a full family breakfast.
And where are they? Where are they from?
They're from Mouse, which is actually a larger city than Blackmoor. It's up the north along the trade road. It's
Okay.
inland. What it's known for is it has the outside of Mouse is a temple slash complex that is held by Chamber, who's one of the draconic deities, and also the worship of Sartha and Encelagath is dominant in Mouse, so they're kind of known as the hub for that. And they're directly north of Ringlohel in the Elven Forest for the Kamasti, so they have a trade position, and it's easier to ship things overland to them sometimes than it is to go all the way down into Blackmoor and then run along the coast. Blackmoor has the best bay, but sometimes it's just easier to do trade directly with Mouse. So they are largest city there. So, and the Delacourts have been merchants, and the alliances between merchant nobles between the Delacourts and the Galens. So,
Okay.
there you go.
Well,
And
good morning, everyone.
also, you must tell me, and this is from Edgar, as I understand it, you've taken some special projects on? So, Megan was talking about you being gone all the time now, so tell me about that.
I wish I could tell you the specifics of it, but I'm on a special assignment.
Your father intervenes directly with Edgar and says, so, what are your plans for today? Are we going to wager? Colin, as I understand, it's going to take part in a horse race, and he immediately attempts to deflect for you when he sees him pushing. And Edgar sees what's going on and backs off a little bit. All right. And Uriel's just watching that. And the breakfast becomes your brother-in-law and his wife, to a lesser extent, kind of trying to figure out what's going on politically in the family. All right. And Uriel's definitely on your side, but she's also married to this guy. So you just sort of watch everybody kind of fence, right? And Megan's just like popcorn, right? Megan realizes that she might have said something she shouldn't, and now she's just watching the adults fence.
Okay.
All right. And of course, for the stream, this is Megan.
Whenever she starts drifting, I'll nudge her under the table, make her pay attention.
She always tries to sit next to you.
And I always sit next to her.
So you nudge her, right? And she puts her hand underneath the table and sparks your knee, and then looks at you smiling.
And I'll give her a little smirk.
So, and let's see. Your mother just lifts her eyebrow, and Megan goes like, "Oh shit," and her spine gets straight. So your mother hardly ever misses anything. That's one of the things about your mother. And your dad's a great guy. He really is. He's very social. He's a good man. He's well respected in the community. He always does the right thing. But your mom is very much, if not the brains of the operation, the manager of the operation, if that makes any sense.
The hub around which the wheel turns.
Exactly.
Now, actually, I can't remember speaking to Reginald in character since we started the campaign. He's just been kind of in the background. I've assumed that he's been away on business most of the time.
He spoke to you when you first got your commission. told you how important
Huh?
everything you did was, right?
That's right.
Yeah,
That's right. That was
yeah. And when you came back on your first night, he was very, very glad to see you and very relieved that they didn't lose you because you were gone for 2 months. But for the most part, he is off doing business. So's Colin. They are gone a lot. And Colin is constantly whipping. He's, taking caravans back and forth or taking them to certain mountain, coming back into the city with another caravan. So, yeah, the women run the household when it comes right down to it. And his wife was only about 17 when she got married. And, she's 23, 24 now, and she's definitely taken right underneath your mother's wing. So, all
and
right.
Colin is married?
Yes, Colin's married.
Okay.
Colin is married to Ursula, and this picture is a little bit younger than I really was looking for, but it definitely gets the color and shape of her, what she looks like, what her eye colors are. And, of course, age that face, so it's about on par with Colin's. He's about 4 or 5 years older than her, and that's your brother Colin.
Okay. Right on.
So, all right. Anything you really are trying to get out of this conversation here?
No, not particularly, but I was concerned with how Delacourt, what's his name? Delacourt, Edgar fit into the situation, whether he was aligned with the Galen family or if he was adversarial.
No, it's another noble house. They're definitely aligned, but he wants information, and he seems... Go ahead and make an insight check.
Okay.
All right, always in the tower. He definitely has a he wants more information. He's not upset. Based on how your mom's reacting to him, you think there's going to be this is what's going on, and as much as we can tell you, conversation with him at some point. You're definitely getting he's accepted that people have deflected him, and he's going to go for one-on-one conversations. You're definitely getting that vibe. You really can't tell how pissed off he is about it, but you're reading the cards on the table that far. All right. Now, Colin, as you guys get into the conversation, as you get deeper into breakfast, all right, Colin suggests to your mother that it's time for the adults to have a conversation, and she encourages Megan and also Robert, your nephew, to go off and have her play harp for him. All right, and so they head off. She's like, "Dear, why don't you go show your cousin what you've learned on the harp at the academy?" And she goes, "Very good, mother," because they know you don't push back on mom when she makes that sort of instruction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they had.
Before you go, I got you a little something.
Oh yeah.
For your costume or your attire for the ball, and I'll give her the brooch that I bought for her.
She looks at it. She steps up and asks you to put it on, and you do, right?
Yeah.
So you put it on, and she steps up, kisses you on the cheek, curtsies, and say, "You're the best brother ever." "Sorry, Colin," and goes. And Colin just laughs. He just dotes on her, and you can see it in his heart.
And of course, I'll smile as she's walking away, and as I, turn back around, I'll have my serious face on, as the adults are about to have a conversation, right?
So there's orcs coming out of the mountains. Pretty substantial chunk of them. We got hit on one of our caravans about 3 days ago, and we held them off. Lost about a third of the men. We lost 2 wagons that got burned by them, and we drove them off. So it was.
I'll prestidigitate and draw out a map, and
you can't
in the air.
Can't. You gave up prestidigitate to animate the.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, and he describes where it happened and where you got, what happened.
Okay.
And so excuse me, I got a ball of slime on my throat. Ooh, I need some water. Give me a sec. Ah. Okay, they're good. Ah. He's like,
Hate when that happens.
yeah, exactly. He's like, Madrid was able to hold them off fairly well. She's a fine caravan master, and I respect the work that she did in this regard. But that's the sort of thing that makes me worried. It was a large mass of orcs. We got hit by somewhere around 80 to 90, and the money that we invested in having a Kabbalist traveling with us was not necessarily a bad thing. So definitely fire turned this for us. But somebody was coming, and they were coming specifically for ore. And they were coming for, some high-grade iron that we were hauling for, Uberstar out of the Regency of the Mines. So I just think I need to flag to everybody that we're getting pressure now. And I talked around, and we're the first that got hit. So we're either hit for a reason, or, it's the first of many that's going to be coming for folks that are traveling. Now, granted, we're heading into spring. Trades are going to pick up, and not everybody is willing to haul like we are on sleds in the ice. But still, just think everybody should know.
I'll pass him a glass of water and help because he's clearly having something wrong with his throat. And are you okay?
I am. I've been out in the cold, I've been out in the wet, I've been out in the rain, I've been out fighting, I've been moving nonstop all winter. I haven't gotten a break. I rolled into the spring. So, where I took that axe hit in the hip, it's healed pretty good, but sometimes it locks up on me. So, things are bad. Just I'm having some issues physically that I haven't had before. And he holds up his right hand. And of course, in his right hand's got this scar that twists back along his forearm where he got skidded with an arrow. And he goes, this has been a little tough lately, too. I got this ache down in my joint. So, and
why don't you see a cleric?
I've been healed, but once the body starts to knit itself, they can't turn this around. I'd have to go and get, what's the name of the spell? The one where it rebuilds everything, not just where it speeds up your natural healing and makes it best. Regeneration, that's the one. I have to do that, and that's very, very expensive, and there's only one high priest who can use that magic. So, here's the thing, all right? I can take it. The lads can't. If one of the lads gets hit and we got healing magic, I give the magic to the lads first, because it takes a lot to put me down, and I heal fairly quick by comparison. But, if we got a guardsman with this that takes an arrow and he drops and I can stand him back up with a healing potion, he gets it. I don't. That's just leading men. And women, he says to his mother as she starts to inhale.
And I'll give him a look like, good catch.
So, they start talking about different problems they've had over time, right? And they start talking about really the issues that Mouse has been having off and on too, right? And were rats come up, and Mouse starts talking about problems that they've been having with were rats. And then they start talking about the last invasion of Coot, and how there was a lycanthropy problem the last time there was an invasion from the egg of Coot, and it's just families just speculating.
Okay, is that true? Like my knowledge of history?
Go ahead and make a history check.
From my perspective, is it true?
Yes, that seems right.
Okay.
That seems right. What it seems to you is that probably... Now make an Arcana check for me. That syncs up with the history that you know. You're not certain. You think it might have to do... You might have pulled them into sync with you, but you're not certain. You know, you don't have definitive and absolute knowledge in that regard. But the history sounds right. And you know there was a disjunction, but you haven't quite put all the pieces together with it.
Okay. Was it were rats last time? Or was it a different form of lycanthropy?
Edgar says, oh, in the cities, it's almost always were rats. That seems to be the preferred agent. So, but
That makes sense.
some of the war parties had werewolves with them, no doubt about it. And there's a big forest that borders the land of the Agakut that, you know, the Tenians have used to stage you know, the Tenians have used as they fought to regain their land. And there's some werewolves in there, too. So I think that's the connection from my perspective, says Edgar.
While I can't tell you about my mission, I can tell you that I myself have been targeted here in the city on multiple occasions of late. Some of them were lycanthropes, were-rats.
Edgar reaches in, you know, reaches in and pulls up very carefully, all right? And this is just him being who he is. He pulls out a dagger, all right? And the dagger has a silvered blade, and he palms it and he puts it back in his purse. And he goes, I hear you, boy.
Thus far, I have not contracted the disease, but there have been attempts.
Oriel smiles politely, and she goes, well, you know what we do in mouse to test and see if somebody is a lycanthrope.
I'll stick out my hand.
Said, oh, no. I'm certain Mother would have figured this out already, but what we do is we put a silver piece in someone's mouth and wire their jaw shut.
Okay.
Very quickly, that lets you know if they've been infected.
Well,
the
okay.
entire family does exactly what you do. Pause. Awkward pause. And your mother says, well, I think we need to get prepared. Is anyone going to go see the races? The subject is changed. Formal business declines, and they move into something else. Jen, I would give you more inspiration if I could for that last comment down in chat.
Can we be sure?
Oh, I've bid silver before. Nice try. Silver tongue. I would be burning up right now.
So,
Okay.
all right.
Anything else you need to pass along to me during this conversation? Because I think I'm good.
No, you definitely got a feeling for what's going on, and you're getting a feeling for the family dynamics here, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Anything anybody would like to do today, or would we like to get to the ball?
I'm going to go to the ball.
Yeah, we're just joshing in the old chat. Sad. Yeah, what time is the ball supposed to start? Like, what is the actual time we're supposed to arrive?
Members of the family should arrive about 4 o'clock for aperitifs, and close friends of the family are allowed to come to that. The formal ball is going to begin just about sunrise because it's sunset. It's about the equinox, and the ball will run all night long. So you're going to.
I'm very familiar with this. Penny, I think we should stay at the comeback inn and ensure that we actually eat real food, because in my experience, the food served at these occasions is not like substantial, and they walk around and they give you this much food, and it's just not enough to sustain yourself. So I highly recommend actually eating a full meal prior to going to the engagement. Otherwise, you'll drink a lot, and that may be embarrassing for both of us.
Okay, I think that's probably a good idea. Plus, I like to be fashionably late to things. So if it starts at like sunset, maybe an hour or 8 after, I'll show up.
Oh, that might be problematic, because I find that rude, and I would we'll have to travel separately. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we can have dinner and then we'll travel separately.
Okay.
I gotta tidy up and everything too.
Okay.
So the party's going to run all night. All right. Are you getting up and spending your normal day? Or are you going to try and sleep in the morning? Sandbag a little bit.
Jewnnabink will take a power nap at approximately 11 a.m.
1
Yeah, maybe a
p.m.?
maybe a big breakfast, take a nap in the afternoon.
Okay.
Get all those carbs in, carb load before the alcohol.
Kind of like what I did today. I mean, I'm not familiar with that process. Never mind.
Yeah.
All
Chad,
right.
do we get an advantage on poison saves with carb loading or no?
No, you don't. Well, what gear do you want to bring with you?
We'll talk about that.
All right, because I think you guys have some. I do think you guys have some. Some antitoxin if you're that serious about it.
I think we do have antitoxin actually.
Yeah,
But,
we spread them out around the party.
But no, I probably will not be taking antitoxin prior to the party. Not that paranoid. Today.
All right, good.
What do you think you've done to us?
I don't know. I think, giving you an opportunity to really think through all your actions at all times, I'm kind of proud of it, to be perfectly honest with you.
So I myself am a risk-averse person by nature for my job and everything. And to play this character, I have to think very non-risk averse. We're gonna go with that, Ted.
What would you do and then do the opposite?
Yeah, I'm
Right.
like, what would be the safe, wise decision to do right now?
So,
Let me not do that.
Matt, may I out you in terms of your profession?
Yeah.
Matt's an air traffic controller, and that he is risk averse should make us all so happy. So, Idris, what are you doing the rest of the day?
I assumed I spent most of my time, and that part with Alwyn was near the end before all this was going to kick off. So
Alwyn is willing to have let's hang out in my room and just enjoy ourselves kind of day if you want to.
okay, yeah, I think I'm just going to go through my inventory and figure out what things I'm going to walk in there with. So trying to figure out if I need to bring this bag of salt and rub it in Colin Galen's wounds when I get that trade contract. Salt bam right at the end. Contract.
All right. Are you going to talk to Alwyn about that at all?
Oh, I'm gonna let her know basically like, hey, I'm going in there. It's a business deal. I'm just trying to secure new sources of ore for the family smelters.
You're going to give Delbert a heads up, or are you just going to do this?
I think he'll see it coming. It's not going to be sneaky or anything like that.
Do you want me to give Delbert a heads up for you? That way you didn't show your hand if your dad asks you.
No, I think it's fine. I think
Okay.
it's fine for right now. Yeah, because I mean, he either says yes or he says no. And if he says yes, he's got to cancel the contract himself. So he'll let the Galens know that he's canceling.
All right.
And then as soon as they say, hey, it's the Regans, they're going to put 2 and 2 together. But hey, deals are made and broken every day in this town. Contracts are contracts.
I understand. Well, I'm going to keep myself out of it then. I'll give you the tongue spell. And, if I'm asked a direct question, I will just point them your way. Does that sound fair?
That's fair.
All right.
That's fair. I'm just looking for a fair and balanced negotiating situation here.
He's trying to make Blackmoor great again.
They don't have walls big enough to put around. There's lakes and all kinds of stuff. We had this conversation in the other Blackmoor campaign. It doesn't work.
That's outstanding. So, that being said, are we ready for the affair?
I mean,
All right, I'm going to suggest that we take our 10-minute break here, if that works for everybody.
Carbo load now before you get poisoned.
And what that lets us do is we won't have an interruption during the actual event. So, hi ho, hi ho, hi ho. We'll be back in about 10 minutes, and thank you all for watching the stream, and we will see you soon. Hey everybody, we're back. Welcome to the Dungeons of Castle Blackmoor stream if you're just jumping in. And we are going to get right into the spring ball at the Galen household. Alrighty then. So, who
Ooh,
is...
pretty?
Oh, thank you. Who is showing up right out of the gate?
Jewnnabink will be
Guilty
there
as
at least
charged.
15 minutes early.
All right, very good.
Way to go, Jewnnabink.
She's the person whose phone is ahead 15 minutes, so they're never late.
Early's on time is late.
Yep.
Can't wait for you to introduce this penguin. I'm so ready. If you thought Kat Benatar and Miauco Rubio were the worst I could do, I've had an entire other people's role-playing session to work on names.
Oh no.
All right. There we go, folks. Manipulate as needed for size. All right, there we go.
I don't see the ballroom.
I'm sorry, what?
It's still under construction.
Oh, the ballroom's under construction.
Yeah, it's still under construction.
So what it is they have, they will clear the main table away, open up the double door so this entire space is open. And you've got over to the right a space that can be used as a ballroom. And when the table's been cleared away from the dining room, you can use that space also. And what will happen is all three of these doors will be opened up. All three of these sets of double doors will be opened up in here. And all that space will get used to dance. And the acoustics are pretty outstanding. If there's somebody playing a harp in any area or on the harpsichord, you could pretty much hear them throughout. So it's got some magical augments too. So there you go. All right, so I'm not necessarily totally worried about having us placed on the map all the time. I just want it there for reference so you can say that I'm going to go in the sitting room, all right? I'm going to be, out in the main entryway. I'm going to be in the main dining room. I'm going to be in the formal ballroom. So I'm not necessarily worried about having you guys in, on the map for actual play. And there's a sitting room over here where recitals occur. So there's plenty of different spaces to do different things. A couple of you have been in Reginald's office, so you know the basic layout of the place. And down here also, this is the stairs up to the residence, the primary residence. And then, of course, there's the family's art and statues and suits of armor and things like that in this gallery, all right, which you've all had a chance to take a look at one point or another. So, Jewnnabink, you're there early. Idris, are you coming on time early? What are you doing?
Right on time, because got to make sure I'm there to get the thing from Red.
Okay, very cool. So you're coming at 4 to hang out with the family as a family friend, or are you coming at 6?
4 on the floor at 4.
All right. So Jewnnabink, you show up a little bit early. All right. Miriam meets you.
Early for guests, not early for families. So I'm at the 5:45 mark.
Oh, the 5:45 mark. Okay.
Yes.
Idris, you come rolling in at 4 o'clock, and Miriam receives you. She's one of the servants, and she hikes you in and has you sit down in the garden. And then she goes in and she says, Delbert, Idris is here.
I'll come out.
All right.
Idris, you look amazing.
Thanks. I go in to shake his hand, give him the one hip bump, and I'm like, "Whoa, don't stab me now."
Oh,
Looking sharp there. Looking sharp.
Idris,
Thank
did you bring Owen Moreland with you?
Yes.
Okay, she's with you too. And she gives you a hug and just sort of stands back. Anything you guys want to do? I mean, everybody is inside in your mother's receiving room, her parlor, talking and standing. They're having a little bit of drinks. They're being social. The fetch just showed up, and he brought Jessup with him. All right, and Jessup has noticed you and smiled at you, but she's come in with with Fletcher.
Oh, stepping
right.
in on the Fletcher's lady.
Not at all. And this has all happened kind of in a rush, right? So she's just coming in. So you've got the fetch there. You've got also the rest of the family and Father Endurin of Odir. So you've got the high priest of the Temple of Odir, and your family is pretty serious patrons of the Temple of Odir. And that, give you an idea what that individual looks like. All right. And
Okay.
so, hey, what's up, Kent?
When you gonna take your bowel break?
I'm sorry, what?
When you gonna take your bio break?
Okay.
When are you?
And this is why we watch the stream. Because if you're on the stream, you would be on time and not late, which is why Jewnnabink is
Right?
on time.
He would know we just took it
Yep.
if
I
he
know.
had been watching the stream.
Eyes
Just
on the
saying.
prize. Eyes on the Hey, Ted.
All right.
So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to have a perch for Quickfoot to perch on, since he is now a
Osprey.
Yeah, I'm going to have him perch basically as a symbol of the house, but also ears for me to listen in on conversations as needed.
Outstanding. All right. And he's like, oh my God, I can't believe you did this to me.
Hey, I'll change you back when we're done, but try it out. You might like it better than being a rat.
Well,
You could go eat some rats now.
yeah. And that's the entire freaking attitude that the lady rats got. You know what I mean? They want no part of me. And I was building up a definite community here. All right. So Quickfoot had a harem. Quickwing has a buffet. I'm not liking it.
Well, I get what you're saying, but it's temporary. Just roll with it.
You've been good to me so far. I'm going to see how I enjoy it. The flying thing might have an upside. I'm saying that might be good. But, all right. So you want me to eavesdrop on people and tell you if anybody's trying to fuck with the family? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
All right. I can do that.
And afterwards, maybe you can fly over and grab a fish or two. Try something new.
All right. I'll definitely explore my new form. I'm all right with it.
Yeah.
So, all right. You got a little bit of pushback, but for the most part, it was just like more of a WTF statement than anything else. All
Okay.
right. All right. So he's willing to do whatever you want, but he wouldn't be Quickfoot if he didn't talk a little bit of trash.
Absolutely.
Hey, Delbert, is that an albatross over there?
Yeah, it's an osprey. It's the family symbol.
Spreading their wings wide, taking flights.
Yes.
All right, man. You're a bona fide Dr. Doolittle over there.
I know, right?
So as soon as there's an opportunity, all right, Jessup comes up and talks to you, all right, and she is go ahead and give me an insight check.
Okay.
She's a little nervous, all right, and you're used to seeing her pretty cool and calm and collected, but she's a little nervous. And she says, so Delbert, the fetch said I should come with him, and that might save me some embarrassment and some pretty intense conversation with your mom and maybe your sisters. So and she's being a little quiet. She's like, so I'm here for you if you want me to be, but the fetch said he would present me as you wanted him to present me, if that makes any sense.
I don't know exactly what he means, but dodging the fierce eye of my mother is not a terrible idea.
Well, I think what he was saying is, I'm Thonian, you're High Thonian. If I come, people are going to make assumptions about our relationship. And so if I come as his aide and his secretary, it's not the same thing. But he said that if you wanted me here as someone you invited, that was your business, and he supported that. But at the same time, I could just sort of hide underneath his cloak if that seemed like the right thing to do. And she's really struggling with this.
Okay. Well, I don't want to put pressure on you, but I would like to get to know you better. And that was kind of rather the point of inviting you.
So I'm kind of used to being in charge. I mean, I help us sell our magic items. I keep inventory on them for the University of Blackmoor. I help arrange the fetch's schedule. I make certain he gets the information he needs, and I work his contacts and organize things for him on specific projects. That's the life I've got. And I've got to tell you, it's a long time before I've felt so uncomfortable some places I feel right now. I mean, your sisters and your family have very politely not paid a lot of attention to me, if that makes any sense.
I understand. Would you like to be incognito, or would you like to be on my arm for the night?
Ask me after more champagne. So she says,
as it happens, we don't know each other well yet, so there's no real pressure. Let's play it by ear. But I'm glad you came, and you look lovely.
Why, thank you, Delbert. So, and she starts to talk about alchemical theory because she feels very, very, very comfortable talking about that. And you can see she's escaping into shop talk for the sake of escaping into shop talk.
Well, I like shop talk because, I've done quite a bit of study and I can keep up with her alchemical conversations. So that makes a perfect thing for us to talk about.
Megan comes rolling up, and she is cute as a button. All right. She is in, really nice family blue dress. And, she's got a little glass of cider, and she listens to the two of you talk. She makes a couple observations that are correct. She's trying to process, but, she's at a certain level, right? And after she talked a little bit, she says to you in Shale, she's really pretty.
And I will say, I agree. She's very smart too, which I like a lot.
I can tell. So, because I like you, I can keep Mama and Ursula, and everybody distracted as you need me to. If you want me to, I can make certain that they're too busy to bother you with her.
And I'll say, yeah, maybe run some interference for me. That would be good.
So, if something catches on fire, it's not my fault, and she's gone. And Jessup goes, I don't think she realizes that I speak Chale.
I assumed that you did, but it's good to know.
I thank you. And she's got a slight blush on her face, and it's about 4:45. It's about a quarter of, and Jewnnabink shows up.
From the back, you hear, hey, it's Bink with Baron Flipper's Waddle Bottom coming in.
All right, Idris, go ahead and load up your inspiration. Go ahead.
Oh, my economy is at full tilt.
So, Ebenezer meets you, and Ebenezer's the head butler, right? And he's like, I have to say, Jewnnabink, your attire is fantastic, and what you've done to Catapult will be notable throughout the evening.
I'll be referring to him as Tux tonight, just for the sake of simplicity, and because Catapult certainly does not reflect his current state of affairs. He'll be back into his normal form later, I'm sure, unless I find this bipedal thing to be more effective. But there is the whole waddling aspect. I'm still working on it, but thank you.
Very good. And he leads you in, and they're in the mother's waiting room and out in the main hall. All right, and they're all hanging out. It's a couple people you don't recognize. You think you recognize Ursula. All right, you think you recognize Ursula. Ursula is Delbert's sister. She's the oldest member of the family, and she's the oldest child, and she's married to this older guy, Edgar. You think in Mouse, but you've never met him. But that's probably him. And everybody's having a conversation, and you're a little bit early.
I'm going to find a corner. I'm going to find a beverage, and I am going to situate myself to stand there.
So you go and plunk down probably in the corner over here and just observe then, right? So you're hanging out over in this corner.
Correct.
You're just observing. And correct. Megan comes sweeping in after about 3 minutes when she sees her there. And she says, I got a question about combustion.
Okay. I'm very, yes, yes. Let's talk arcane science, yes.
What's the most effective reagent when you need to start a fire that won't burn at a hot enough temperature to get wood but will produce smoke and make noise?
Well, it really depends upon your, are there other requirements, or are you simply looking for low temperature and high smoke point?
I'm looking for about 15 seconds of really intense loud activity.
So you've also added acoustics to your requirements, and so that requires me to reassess what I was going to tell you in the first place. So it's very hard to find something that acoustically burns at a low point but has lots of smoke. So I'll have to run some numbers. Do you have a weighting preference as to what is more important to you or less important to you?
No, I kind of trust. I have a couple ideas, but I figured you could help me refine. Would you like to make an Arcana check?
I would love to make an Arcana check. I would love to click on things. Sorry, Jen started going, what would actually work?
All right, would you like to make an insight check to go with your Arcana check?
Absolutely.
All right.
Which I will most likely fail, but at least I'll know. At least I'll try.
Megan's such a sweetheart, and she always has such a pure interest in science. It's just so rewarding.
Fire!
All right.
That's what I keep hearing in my mind.
This is actually, you're wrapping your brain around this. You can't think of a really clear-cut way to get this to work the way that she's asking you to.
So it's interesting. So the three parameters that you've given, acoustics, temperature, and smoke, they actually don't coexist very, very well. So I would say, like, pine cones, for instance. Pine cones would give you a very great sound and smoke effect. However, they are not very low flammability. So, I don't think there's a perfect answer for this, as, arcane science. I mean, there is a small amount, I hate to admit this, but there's a small amount of art to the arcane science. But yeah, so I don't know that there's an easy response to this, which I will have to, I'm just going to stay in here for the rest of the night and ponder this. Thank you.
The cider's really good. All right. And so Miriam and made some really good spice cake that I think you'd like. They're made out of crab, and they got stuff in them. They're awesome.
Cake. Is it supposed to be a savory or a sweet confection?
So, yes. And she walks away. And she comes up to Delbert and she says, I totally stumped Jewnnabink.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. I tried to get her to give me a list of household ingredients that I could use to make a boom cracker, and she couldn't come up with it. And she walks away. All right.
and I'll chuckle a little bit and turn back to Jessup and say, I must tell you, in full disclosure, I did have an ulterior motive to inviting you today. I kind of used you as a smokescreen for some women that my mother wants to hook me up with, but it isn't all that. I do like you, so I guess my point is there are some women that I will end up having to talk to tonight, and they'll be upset by it.
You're going to need to make a persuasion check there.
Tad, are there any napkins of a cloth or paper variety situated near my location?
I'll use an inspiration point on that.
Very good.
Persuasion.
In the tower, please. But go ahead and use inspiration. Yes, there's servants all around. If you have a need, they'll find it for you. There's not like a stack of napkins hanging out. There's people whose job it is to get you whatever you want.
I asked for
Okay.
a stack of paper napkins.
Don't really have paper napkins, but they'll get you a couple linen napkins.
Well,
So-
can you seem like you're here for my service, and I apologize for that. I understand that there's a classist and an elitist structure to the way that Blackmoor operates. But regardless, could you bring me paper? If you could bring me actual paper, that would be lovely.
Well, okay. Paper, you're asking for basically a computer. All right. Paper is not, it's the top end of the tech. So they use cloth. All right. But if you want a sheet of vellum, they'll get it for you. But you don't use paper for things like napkins. All right.
Well, no, I'm asking separate from the napkins at this point because, they were so happy to get me cloth.
Somebody shows back up with a picture with one thing of paper.
Fantastic. I'm
paper.
going to sit in the corner. I already have an ink and pen. I'm going to sit there and start figuring out the different calculations for boom crackers.
So you sit at the table that's probably set aside for cards, sit down in a chair where people would normally be paying cards in front of the fireplace later, and you are doing calculations and trying to figure out how to make this work, correct?
Correct. And also, doing a complete pro-con analysis, buy versus make kind of thing where I can say that, well, we could go with pine cones. We could also go with, reagent ABC, like complete matrix.
I'm going to hop back over to Delbert and Jessup because we were right in the middle of something there. So I'm going to hop back over to that. So she says, Delbert, I completely and totally understand. I'm glad you had me here. This is a great experience for me, and it's going to be interesting to see how all this comes together for you and your family. So normally, I spend the high holiday like this with my mother and my father, and we might have a goose, and we might watch the foot races, and my dad would probably break out a special bottle of liquor for us that he picked up, and it's something different every year. But that's normally what this holiday is for me. I really appreciate you giving me an opportunity to be here.
And I'm glad that you're here.
All right.
I am being sincere in my interest, though. I don't want you to think that I'm disinterested just because there's multiple angles.
I believe you. And you're certain that she believes you. She heard what you were saying. And what's important here is she got your intention. You don't think she was playing any sort of game, right? You think that she heard you, she understood the situation you're in, she processed it, and she understood. So, all right.
Okay.
People are starting to come in. All right. You're seeing all sorts of different people sort of step through the door. All right. So Svail Highfellow shows up, and he's actually Penny's patron, and he sits on the Regency Council. He's definitely a friend of your parents, and with him are, Blackie. All right. Now, Blackie isn't dressed like this right now. He's actually, got his hair back and he's in more formal attire. But Blackie is his guard, and so is Catfoot, which, they're almost always with him. It's very, very rare for you not to see them showing up together. They make certain that nothing happens to him ever. That's kind of their entire job. So, and Catfoot sees Jewnnabink sitting at the table doing math, and she sits down across from her, and she says, "Oh, that's interesting. Tell me what's going on there, Jewnnabink."
Oh, well, I was posed with a very important question earlier in the evening, and I am attempting to create a cost analysis and general, pro-con kind of thing with via matrix to determine what the best application of a reagent is for smoke, temperature of burn.
Have you seen Penny?
No.
Would you tell Penny that we're here if she shows up? That Svail showed up?
Oh, okay.
All right. You have a great night. Gone. All right.
Successfully dodged.
All right.
The black dress is working. You can tell.
All right. First sort of Eliza shows up, and she's a priestess of the Temple of Sakwan. You guys know her. You've talked to her before. And she shows up, and she, begins talking to Colin, who has an affinity for the Sakwan. He's a worshiper of Odir, but he's definitely retrained. He's definitely gotten some martial training there. And some other, nobles come in, people that you recognize, people that you don't recognize, some people that work for your father and with your father. And finally, Cameron Grax shows up. And he is a High Thonian noble, very clearly a High family Thonian noble. And with him is his younger daughter, Alicia, and his middle child, Belinda, and then Kusili, who is his oldest daughter and who is actually widowed. She lost her husband in the last invasion by the Coot. And they are dressed very, very, very well. Kusili, you can tell by her attire that she is not actively engaged in seeking a suitor, but she's present. Belinda is wearing the white that expresses her interest, and the mixed blue and white for Elisa means for those of you who are Hythonians that she is dependent on her sister moving forward, but that she is here kind of to present herself and coming out. Alicia looks about 16, Belinda is about 18, and Kusili is about 23. And Cameron is in his late 30s, early 40s, and was married very, very, very early. And they're here. And okay. Cameron begins a conversation with your mother and father, and the girls sort of start to mix after being introduced one after the other to your mother and father.
Okay.
All right. Penny, you are here.
Cool. You have the
See
image.
that white dress?
And you all note that Penny looks kind of like Penny, but Penny, why don't you go ahead and describe yourself?
So Penny walks in. She's wearing a very nice tux, as per the picture shown there, with a stylized white eye patch, and it looks like some of her facial disfigurement and damages are concealed. And she walks in carrying a box underneath her arm.
So when you come to the door and you have the box, right? Ebenezer would be like, Does my lord require me to take the package? Do you have anyone you'd like to have it delivered to?
No, I got it.
All right, very good. And you come walking in to the front door, and you can see Delbert and Idris hanging out talking. You can see Jessup hanging out talking. There's room is filled with people. You see Jewnnabink sitting at a table, scratching away on a notepad, and there's two individuals sitting near her talking. And you see almost immediately Svale and Blackie and Catfoot.
I see Frida.
Frida is not immediately, but you can hear her voice.
I'll move towards her voice.
Okay. So Frida turns around and she looks at you and she goes, "My, that's an interesting choice. You look outstanding, Penny." So
Yeah, I know. This is for you. Here.
oh, thank you so much. And she
And
holds it up,
just-
and a servant comes and starts to hand it off. She goes, "Yes, Penny."
Just so you know, for future reference, I do appreciate what you're trying to do, but I can't be bought or bartered for. And I do take a little bit of disrespect when you insinuate that petty theft could be met with your house's punishment. And I would just like to remind you that in the future, your son, I believe he holds me, I don't want to say in a high regard, but I definitely look out for his back and keep him safe in the jobs we are taking a part of right now. And it would behoove you in the future to remember that, the closeness that we share and the fact that I look out for your son. And if you feel that I would do better in the jail somewhere than watching his back, the next time you can just make that known plainly. I got to go talk to my friends.
Let me introduce. And there's a woman standing next to her that looks kind of like Delbert. She goes,
Yeah.
"Let me introduce you to Ursula. This is Delbert's older sister. Ursula, this is Penny. She travels with Delbert, and Delbert holds her in very high esteem. I've been working with her to introduce her to more of the finer points of society, and she is coming along to a certain extent. So I will say that I very much appreciate your candor, Penny."
Yeah, I'm going to go talk with my friends now. But it's nice meeting you, Ursula.
Very good. So, do you want to make an insight check?
She's probably very upset, but also cannot display it because she's around other nobles right now. So,
yeah, but go ahead and make an insight check.
okay.
All she wants is your voice, and she'll give you a regular pair of legs.
She's annoyed, but she's also really impressed. All right. So she was annoyed, no doubt about it, because this is not the time or place for it. But at the same time, you came up and you stood up for yourself to her, and on some level, she really appreciates that. Now, without a doubt, you think you've got a conversation come from her separately where we talk about time and place, but she was annoyed, not pissed, if that makes any sense. You know? You definitely get a really, right now you're fucking doing this now vibe. All right, you got balls. That's kind of where she's coming from, all right, to translate it into pennyism, okay? So,
Okay.
yeah. And Megan, as you're going to find your friends, shows up beside you and goes, "Oh my God, that was awesome," and takes off.
All right, scram kid. I'm going to go sit down next to Jewnnabink at the corner table.
So, all right.
Jewnnabink, this party sucks.
Well, I mean, if you think it's bad, you should go talk to Lord Waddle's Pebble Pincher over there and see how chatty he can be.
I can't really give a quantity for the party, although I will say that the staff has been very helpful. They got me all this paper so I could figure out this problem. Svale and people were looking for you. They told me to tell you that they were here.
Okay, they usually are. I'm sure they'll find me eventually.
Yeah. It's not like it's hard to figure out where I am because I've been here the whole time, and this is nice because people have pretty much left me alone except for that one time.
What are you working on?
Oh, so Megan gave me this problem, and it must be very important because she asked me to do it. So I'm working on it very diligently, and I'm creating an analysis that includes a matrix and proper documentation of the low temperature point, high smoke point, and high audible effects of reagents, in various applications. So I'm not entirely sure why she needs it, but I'm sure it's very important. So here I am working on it, and this is actually far more enjoyable than any social interaction.
You know, Jenna, and I say this with the most respect for you, you're really fucking weird. You know that?
And Cameron Grax comes walking up to Idris and Delbert as they're standing there talking.
They're like,
So-
oh. All right.
So, as I understand it, the two of you are deep into your process of validation now.
Yes, I
So-
believe it's what, 3
We are.
months?
So, as I understand it, you're attempting, and your desire is to be fully landed nobles then, with all the rights and privileges that stand with that.
Yes.
Outstanding. So, Idris, where do you plan on keeping your estates? Will you be returning to Bramwell to serve with your father, or will you be acting as his agent here in Blackmoor? Do you know?
I enjoy staying as far away as him as possible. So if I can get further north to, like Jackport, Moss, up in that area, the more distance, the better.
Oh, your candor is refreshing. So, I take it then that you would be amenable to relocating given the appropriate opportunity. Is that correct then?
It depends. Yeah, I was relocated here. I was relocated somewhere else just recently, and now I've relocated myself to the Galen Mansion. It's a nice place to kick up your feet and sit back and enjoy yourself.
I see. As I understand that you have an affinity with Hirsch. Can you help me understand what that means for you? That's an interesting choice for a noble.
I don't think so. I mean, we've all played cards. We've all thrown dice. We know that in life, it takes more than just skill and experience and research. I say really loudly. I say it takes a bit of luck to get through this life. And look at yourself. You have 3 fine, beautiful daughters.
I
Pretty
do.
lucky. I mean, you can look at our family. We got some, humdingers on our side.
Well, since my wife passed, I've come to terms with the fact that I have no clear male heir, and that that will have to pass through my daughters. So there's an opportunity for someone, if they were so inclined, perhaps to, while keeping their family name, find access and place amongst my household. So,
I see. Delbert's mom was actually looking for somebody for him. And he doesn't have anybody here tonight. I'm here with Alwyn right now, sowing those noble oats, during my validation process, getting to understand and experience everything before the crushing realities of responsibility come and get us all.
oh, you're sowing your wild oats, and that's your only interest at this point, then, as I understand it?
I know I have that message stone on me. And I'm like, well, you got to understand what it's like. Blackmoor is a very progressive place, and we as nobles may have to adapt to figure it out. But I am sure that if I am unable to, enter into these kinds of relationships, that I would be willing to help you find some great individuals out there. I do know a lot of eligible men and women, and myself, we Regans do have a kind of tarnished name due to my father's actions, but your house may deserve better than what I can offer.
I haven't seen many women you haven't been able to enter into.
Well,
That is the most humble speech I've ever heard from Idris.
Delbert,
He's off his game.
please introduce me to your friend here.
Well, this is Jessup. What's Jessup's last name? Does she have one?
So,
This is Jessup. She's
Broadwin.
This is Jessup Rodwin. She's my guest tonight, and is uh, uh, she works for, what's his name, the Fetch, as
Oh, staff for Fletcher William. That's outstanding. Are you at the university, Jessup? And Jessup goes, yes, my lord. She goes, and what do you do? She goes, I function as his lord's secretary, and I assist him in running his daily operations. And she goes, oh, very interesting. I says, that's so gracious of you to open up your house in such a way. So, and he just sort of looks at the two of you and says, and your plans then? I see that you've joined the Cabal. Are you going to seek higher position within the Cabal? Are you staying in your family's business, or do you see yourself as seeking ascension and gain through activities within the Wizards Cabal?
for now I'm pushing forward in the Cabal, but I'm not opposed to switching to a different mode if the right opportunity presents itself.
He nods and he says, very good. I think dinner will be getting soon. I'm looking forward to what your parents do. They always have such outstanding repast. And he sweeps away. And target acquired. Kasuli, the older sister, comes over and immediately engages Idris. All right. And the two younger sisters, Alicia and Belinda, come over and begin to talk. And Alicia starts to talk to Jessup and ask her questions about her dress and engages her. And Belinda starts to talk directly to Delbert. And Kasuli comes and she looks at Idris and she goes, so, I've been arms and armor. That's an outstanding area of trade. So she goes, here's what I understand about the quality of works. Now, here's the thing. As you're talking to Idris, Kasuli has researched what your family does. They've researched the trade connections you have. They understand the quality of the armor that she has. And she is trying to present to you knowledge of your business and pick apart how it's run and offer opportunities for increased profit. All right. So she's laying out a business skill set directly to you. All right.
Jenna,
So...
this is exactly how we'd pick apart people and separate them when we're trying to rob them.
I see. Oh,
So
go
are
ahead.
you equating the nobility and their access to each other and the conversations they have to petty theft?
Oh, no, they're much worse.
Grand larceny.
And I
Grand-
will shoot a look over at Penny.
Oh,
Belinda Grax is very gracious and very kind. She walks up and she says to Delbert, so as I understand it, your sister is being, is learning how to, perform. And she goes, I have an outstanding soprano voice, and I've also studied with the same people. My area of expertise, however, is, the voice, and she wants to talk art with you. And she's presenting herself in a very specific way as a well-informed aristocrat. And Alicia, go ahead and make an insight check.
Okay.
So Alicia is absolutely trying to make Jessup uncomfortable because she doesn't know enough about clothing and how to present herself in this environment. She's being aggressive and condescending. She's not being... It's a little bit of Mean Girl, all right? And you overhear it and you see it. Now, Jessup is handling it, but they have definitely tried to break the three of you apart so Belinda can engage and assess you. And Idris, go ahead and make an insight check on Kasuli.
How much of any of this is Jewnnabink picking up?
Bits and pieces of it. They're actually in the parlor. You're through a door and you can see them occasionally read their lips. Penny's picking up quite a bit of it because it has a higher passive.
I realize she's. Oh, go ahead.
That's probably not- yeah.
My passive insight is actually higher because I'm observant.
Oh, your insight's higher than your perception. You can tell mood then. You can tell what everybody's attempting to do for the most part because they're not really hiding it. So, wow, Idris, this Cassili Grax chick, I mean, she knows what she's talking about. This is a merchant. This kind of reminds you of Frida. Reminds you of your mom. She knows her business. She knows how to operate a household, and she is assessing your business acumen right now. She would be the sort of person your father would choose for you. You're fairly certain, and she's sharp. All right. Now, Alwyn, when they saw him coming up, just faded. She didn't even hang. All right.
Yeah.
So when Alwyn saw them coming up, all of a sudden Alwyn wasn't a presence. All right. Because Alwyn looked at the chessboard and went, "I'm going to move over here to Queen 6." Okay.
I got you. But I have a question. So this is my question. He's talking about male heirs, right? However, the Baroness Aelford is technically a baron, and she went down the line and inherited. So in theory, couldn't Kusili take over that family?
Absolutely. She absolutely could take over that family.
So
what his concern is it's more about gender role, right? He doesn't have anybody who can go out in the world with a caravan in the same way, right? Now, women can, absolutely. And, gender equality is gender equality here. But he is trying, you're absolutely, and you get this off the insight roll you just made. You hit it.
Yeah.
All right?
Yep.
He is absolutely trying to build the bench for his family and his household. And he came at you because he thinks you could be picked away from the Regans because you have been public in your complaints about your father on more than one occasion. You've done that you've done that specifically in front of the Galens, and they probably shared that information with him. All right, and you've got a skill set they think is useful.
So I'm going to pull a House of Quark move here.
Okay, please do.
And Grolka needs to run her own house, basically. So what Idris is going to do, he realizes she's got all this intelligence and everything, and I'm going to basically say to her, like, hey, I don't understand why you need someone like me. Look, I get it. We make armor, we make weapons, but that's not the life I like. I'm all over the place. But I see you have passions, you have desires, you have a drive to be someone better, to show your father. You don't take mess from no one. You don't want someone like me. But I do know many men, in fact, who would be willing to take a more subservient role so you could run your household as you wish. Free you up from your father. And if you truly are interested in all this type of trade, it would be a great economic alliance between our houses instead of a personal one.
Go ahead and make a persuasion check.
Running out of hero points. Let me throw another one on that bad boy. Boom. All right. Skills. Persuasion, right?
It makes me so happy when people use hero points on social things.
That's what you got to use it for.
Absolutely.
Combat is fleeting.
Oh, okay. All right. Your total roll, and I'm going to tell you, is 31. All right.
Damn.
I understand what you're saying. And conjugal engagement isn't necessary from my perspective. But what marriage does from my father's perspective is it's ties of blood and silver between the household. So if you and I were to interact and we were to become married, and I'm having a frank conversation with you because you've cut right through all the cloak, all the dagger, all the darkness, all the shadow, all the mist, and you're talking directly to me. But if the Regans have an heir within our household and you are the father and you were my spouse or the spouse of one of my sisters, it doesn't matter to me. I'm going to run the business. But if that were the case, it would establish a formal alliance in a way that would make us rather potent power here, especially if you're willing to relocate into the household and live with us. So what I see is an opportunity to strengthen both the houses in a different way. Now, if that's not something that appeals to you because of your personal professional ambitions, as I understand it, you've taken the Order of Hirsch. Is that correct?
Yeah, but we're a freewheeling,
yes, but if you're pursuing some sort
of
of knighthood and you have things you need to do as a young man, I understand. I was married once. So if that's what you need to do, I respect that. So I will then, based on what you said, you and I will have contact to a certain extent, correct? We will share information and support each other to a certain extent. Is that what you propose?
Yes. However, since we're being frank and upfront, I need to let you know that I am currently seeing Alwyn
Oh,
Moore.
yes. I know. That's common knowledge. That doesn't offend me at all. You're a young man, so I understand that. And it's Alwyn Moreland, so that's fine. So
Yeah. Then
she
you know
goes,
what? Let's put on a play act, a little shadow play here, and get the ball rolling.
"We will dance tonight after dinner." Does this sound appropriate to you?
Yes, I just need to
So-
let someone know what's going on.
You, sir, are so, and she leans over and whispers in your ear, you, sir, are so damn pretty. That is part of my consideration. And she steps back and rolls away. And as she rolls away, her sisters disengage and pull away also. And it's like a stream of fighters come in, hit a target, and pull back out. So,
Crazy.
and you
And it
hear,
would totally happen that way too. It does happen that way.
you hear trumpets from out front. And you think Uther's arrived. So,
And at that, as soon as I'm watching to see the reaction from the Grax, Belinda, I suppose, is the one in front of me at the moment.
so
You think she's the royal king type?
No, I'm just watching to see if they know that the king is due to show up here.
oh, they're surprised, and it's obvious to the youngest one because she does a little bit of, all right, and Kasuli is like, cards right here, make a check, bitches, come on, all right. But the younger sister gives the game away for the family, all right, just as they didn't know, and.
Okay.
It's your training day, son.
Rolling through the front door is a woman in her early 30s, cut up pretty hard, and she's part of the King's House Guard. She walks into the space, all right, examines the room, and, it's a special stare, is the best way to describe her examining the room, all right? She's very much assessing who's here and what their intentions are, all right? And then she turns on her heel, nods out through the door, and two other men come in. That individual and that individual.
Oh man, Penny, you could get a job with them with all your scars. Fit
All
right in.
right. And these three people fight at the king's side. Their job during a battle, because the king fights, all right, Uther does not hold back. Their job is to keep him safe. And they are in the room. They are checking things out. Your father rolls forward, bows. They talk to him briefly, all right, and they roll out a really nice ornate chair, place it directly before the fireplace, and Uther Endahar enters the room.
What's up, Nordic Jesus?
No, I he looks like someone I actually know. I'm trying to
Nordic
figure out who it is, but he looks like someone I actually know.
He looks like Rene Alfonso if he had a beard. The long hair.
That's awesome.
I was going to say a comment, but it's inappropriate for the stream.
Is there anything really inappropriate?
Uther sits, and now he has to receive everyone. All right, and so because it's the Galen's party, they line up, and here's a decision you have to make right now, Delbert. Are you going to introduce Jessup, or are you going to let the fetch introduce Jessup?
I am going to introduce Jessup.
So you hold your arm out to her,
Yes, absolutely.
and she takes it, and she's like, all right, so you guys get in line, your mother and dad. He goes, talk. And Jansen says, his lord and lady, Reginald and Frida Regan, and they just go through, right? And Ebenezer is beside him, whispering to him who everybody is, right? So it's a sort of a relatively smooth transition. He's like, Delbert Regan and his guest, and he lists her name, Jessup Broadwin. And Uther looks up and he goes, Delbert, it's a pleasure to see you this evening.
And you, my lord.
So, and he goes, Jessup, as I understand it, you are of absolute and total utility to my good friend Fletcher William. Is this true? And she nods, and he goes, your sacrifices to the state are noted, and the work you do is held in high regard by myself and also the Regency Council. It warms my heart to see you here with Delbert. Delbert stands high in my esteem based on the sacrifices he takes to the state, and which I have no doubt you are somewhat aware of, given your position in Fletcher's staff. Is this true? And she goes, yes, my lord. And he goes, Delbert, always a pleasure. I would like to speak to you this evening.
I look forward to it, my lord.
Boom, and they roll through, all right? And then Idris, you actually, because you got brought in as a friend of the family, you get to come up, all right? And Alwyn is like, at this point, all right? And he goes, Idris, Alwyn, and he actually stands up and pets Alwyn on her hand, kisses her on the cheek and goes, it's so good to see you. And he sits back down and he goes, Idris Regan, you're making quite a name for yourself now. So I will never forget your father breaking ranks and coming to join us when the Thonians invaded last. So that was a decision of signal merit, and it turned the battle in our favor.
Well, I mean, when the chips are down, you got to make the right choices.
So I believe he made the right choice, and you have made the right choice given what you do now. And Alwyn Moreland, this is outstanding that you have that friendship. I trust Alwyn. She has always been a good friend of mine and always taken my interests to heart and that of Blackmoor. But she's probably told you this, has she not?
Insight check. I'm looking for Marilyn Monroe vibes going on here with Mr. JFK.
Go ahead and make an insight.
I already threw that in the tower.
Oh, let me go take a look. Let me go take a look.
I see you, JFK. I see you, RFK over there. I see you, Delbert over there.
Okay, Idris, you really try and figure out what's going on here. And the best way I can describe it is when Alwyn doesn't want you to know something, you don't know it. And the king, you're like, wow, I wonder what's going on in his head. I have no idea. All right. So to use a Star Trek metaphor, all right, you're trying to get through, shields that you don't have the slightest energy, you don't have enough energy in your beam weapon to even get through it.
I got a better one for you. We go fast. We find things. We collect.
Yes. Uther, you can't get any read on Uther at all other than the one he wants you to have. And right now he's being gracious. So, and as you guys pull back, you see that the dwarf that you need to speak to has been tied up, and you see him start to break off after he's introduced, and it's the individual that you saw. Oh, and they work their way through, and they go through the nobles, and then it is Jewnnabink because she is, adjunct faculty. All right.
Did anyone actually come fetch me? Because I was actually going to ask you, what do I have to roll to know what the proper social interaction is here?
Give me a charisma check.
Oh, this would be great.
Dump stat.
Bum, bum, bum.
Be nice, smile, be polite. Don't touch him unless he touches you. And when it's obvious he's done talking to you, get the fuck out.
Okay. So I will join the line.
Oh, Jewnnabink, it's my pleasure to see you. How are your mother and father?
They're good.
So he goes, and I trust your studies are going well?
They're great.
So are Delbert and Idris good friends? Do they respect who you are and what you've accomplished for them?
Um, um, Generally speaking, sure.
Your candor is refreshing. So it's a pleasure to see you. I wish to speak to you and your friends this evening. So I'm going to make an opportunity for us perhaps to have, a libation this evening.
I normally don't drink, but thank you, sir. Your Majesty. Yes.
Very good, Jewnnabink. Don't worry. I'm a man just like any other man. I just have more duties than others. I look forward to talking to you this evening. And thank you so much for all you do for us.
I back away almost to the point of running.
Okay, they worked their way through the line, and Penny, something I would have offered you is you can be presented with Svale if you want to, and Svale and Fletcher would have gone right behind the nobles because they're members of the Regency Council. Would you have wanted to go with Svale and Blackie and Catfoot, or do you want to go independently?
I wouldn't have wanted to go at all.
All right. Well, you kind of go ahead and make a charisma check.
I mean, this is going to be bad.
Okay. Fuck them. You're sitting here. You're not getting up. All right. So, Jewnnabink, Delbert, and Idris, I need everybody to make a, your passive perception will point this out to you. I need you all to make an insight check.
Oh, Penny's going to jail.
I tell you, there's like at least a 50% chance something terrible is going to happen to Penny tonight.
Okay, so we have from Delbert, wow, Jessup really likes me. We have from Idris you both got 5s, so you're like, man, the king wants to talk to me. And we have from Jewnnabink, believe it or not, a holy shit, why isn't Penny going to go talk to the king?
So I will go back to the table where I'm assuming the Penny is still sitting.
Right, and you got about 3 minutes. We got about 3 to 5 minutes before it would be her turn. She really should be in line by now.
That's because the two of us are like, who wouldn't go to the king?
Right.
Penny, my understanding in this specific social interaction is that you should be in line in order to greet the king.
But I don't even know the king. Why would I go greet him?
Because that's so. I understand that the rules of social engagement are quite frankly ridiculous, but in this case, you should do so in order to meet the expectations of those that are hosting this party. Think of it as payment for services rendered in the amount of food that you're going to consume.
Oh, you already told me the food is trash, and they give us little tiny serving. They gave me a shrimp that I think was cut in half.
But I will say that's true. But I will say that the amount of alcohol present and available is astounding to me. And they will refill your glass like as soon as you snap your fingers. I mean, go ahead and try it. You can snap your fingers.
I'll get in line and go see what everybody else is doing.
It's about 15 seconds, and then your debt will be paid to the family. You don't have to worry about that.
Okay.
All right. So Penny is the last in line. All right, and Penny comes up, and the king says, "Penny, it's always good to see a hero of 10. What you did freeing your people is noted by me and is presented to me by Svale and other members of the community as an activity of high merit, and you have my respect. It's been a pleasure. It is a pleasure to meet you. I've always wanted to speak to you."
Well, I appreciate that, Uth. Those people, a lot of them I didn't make it out, so I mean, I guess I did something, but I don't think it was that much. Most of those people didn't make it out of 10. So,
if you hadn't have done what you'd done, quite a few of them would not have, and I believe many of them would have rather died trying to escape than on a Afridi sacrificial blade on their altar or on their pier. So the actions you took are quintessentially what I feel all Blackmoorians should be able to take actions for others with no fear of sacrifice. And if you've ever asked yourself why you were treated the way you were treated by myself and other nobles, it's because of the sacrifices and decisions you made at that time. And I thank you for it. And if you did not realize that, I want you to understand that now. And if you have time tonight, I would love to have a conversation with you and your friends. Does this suit you, Penny?
Yeah, I mean, they told me I was supposed to like go up here. And am I supposed to tell you anything else why I'm up here? I was just told I had to get in line.
No, not really. I very much wanted to tell you what I thought. And your candor and your direct nature are something I respect. I have had many decry travel with me and in my retinue, and I understand that your precision in communication is most important to you. So,
I think that was a compliment. I will accept that.
go ahead and make an insight check. Oh yeah, absolutely. That was a compliment, and he is being direct with you from what you can tell. I mean, he doesn't seem. It seems to be this is who Uther Andahar is. It's unrefined. He's just shooting at you straight.
Okay, well, it was nice meeting you, Uth. You seem like a real stand-up guy, and I hope your reign is long and prosperous. I guess is what you're supposed to say in this spot.
That was well said. Yes, yes. So, and based on what I know of Delbert and Idris, I believe at this point I should say, Penny, thank you for not being short with me. Is that correct greeting in terms of how your circle works?
Boom! Here from the back.
Yeah, I mean, I do have a joke for you if you got the time.
Absolutely. And he leans forward on his knees.
Okay.
All right. And gets eye to eye with eyes to eye with you. I guess what?
What did the Regan say when they got to the ball?
I don't know. What did the Regan say when they got to the ball?
It was nice meeting you.
Pretty good. All right. So the king gets taken to the head of the main table. All right. And they've rolled out a table in the ballroom, a table out here, and it's a meal. All right. And Jenna and Penny have to eat outside of the main ballroom, but Idris and Delbert and the family eat at the king's table. And it is about an hour and a half, 2 hours of ridiculous amounts of food. You know that hash shrimp you got beforehand? That was all about taste, right? And what you're beginning to realize is all these things that we're giving you were really set up to get your taste buds ready for the main meal. And it's loaded. Now, there's a lot of traditional meal things that happen, a lot of things that are prepared on the Spring Festival. All right, there's just a few things that people make. Now, eggs are a fertility symbol, so there's a lot of like ducks, geese, chicken, a whole bunch of different things like that. There's boiled eggs, pickled eggs, there's things like that, and then there's also a lot of fish. What it is all the things that you would be emptying out your larder with at the end of winter as spring begins. So that's the sort of stuff that they're preparing for you. And there's tons of wine, there's fermented cider, there's mead, there's anything you want to drink, and they just go to town. Now, it's obvious to you that the king either has the constitution of an ox or the king has some sort of magical protections that are making him able to work his way through this, right? So he drinks and 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 he drinks. And if you try and keep pace with him, does anyone try and keep pace with him?
No, but I am intently studying and pondering upon what I could do to replicate whatever he's under the effect of.
You don't compete with someone who swallowed a portable hole.
That's brilliant. Colin is attempts to keep pace for a little bit and then basically goes, all right. So, Delbert, you're seeing your older brother a little tipsy. Just a little. All right. And it goes. End of the dinner, things break up. Everybody walks around for a little bit. They stage you down off the dinner. So they have desserts. They have all sorts of things, for you. Pretty much anything you want. They wheel around a tray. They have, bread pudding, which people, have. They have, some cakes. They have some pastries. And they sort of wind you down. And all of a sudden you hear a harp strike out in the next room. All right. And Delbert, that means you should be taking Jessup to go dance.
Okay.
All right. And your father gets up with your mother.
I'll absolutely do that. During dinner, I'll be introducing her to to various people, focusing on her skills and who the people are, so that we can widen her list of contacts, make it worthwhile.
She appreciates that, and she comports herself well. All right, she is listening to you. She talks. She's straightforward. She comports herself well, and she is getting more and more comfortable all the time here. Now, as the dinner breaks up and people start to go off to dance, Uther stands up, wipes his hand, says something to Kura. Kura nods, and Kura comes walking up to
Comes the prison shank.
comes walking up to Jewnnabink and says, Jewnnabink, Lord Uther requests the pleasure of your dance this evening.
What?
Lord Uther,
Pale on the black.
Lord Uther requests the pleasure of a dance with you this evening. My dear, he would like to recognize you in front of the court. This is a incredible opportunity for you. Please come with me.
It'll raise your
follow.
stature.
I look at Penny as though I am being dragged off to my death, but I follow.
And Uther holds his hand down, all right, and you reach up and grab his hand, and he walks towards the main ballroom, which is off to the right, all right, and he walks in with you, all right, and there you definitely get everybody gets a moment of, and he forms up in a line. Now, Idris, who are you bringing? You taking Owen, or are you going to grab somebody else?
I told all, but that's what I was going to tell you. During the dinner, I tell Owen what happened between me and Lucille.
And Owen's like, damn.
Yeah. Like, I straight up tell her the whole, like, not even trying to be deceptive. Like, this is what's going down. I want to be straight and honest with you about, what's going on.
She goes, hey, you got to do what you got to do. I am fine with that. So I'll find out what I can about her for you, okay?
Yeah. So the first dance will be with Kusili, and then so we can
All right.
formalities, and then I'll go back to Owen.
Svale goes off with Catfoot to dance. Blackie shows up next to Penny, and he's like, fuck this dance, right?
Yeah, this is pretty shit, man.
Yeah. So Blackfoot sits down next to you. He has no interest in dancing at all. And he's like, whiskey?
Yeah, I mean, we may as well. There's nothing else to do really in this place.
All right. And he says something in decry to the servants. And when they don't get it, he says it again in decry. And one of them gets it, and he comes over, and he's talked to that servant. He sends him away, and he goes, it's important sometimes they know their place. You know what I'm saying?
No, I feel what you're saying. These nobles think they can just walk on anybody and that they control everything. But you gotta occasionally show them they don't run everything around this place.
As there is no skill set now for etiquette, all right, what we're going to do is everybody gets to make a charisma check. Those of you who are nobles get to make the charisma check with advantage because you have been trained in this sort of thing your entire lives. You know how to dance, all right? To dance, and you may make this publicly, all right? To dance and not completely fuck up, all right, is a DC 10. To be competent is a DC 15. To blow it out of the park is a DC 20. Now, Jewnnabink, because King Uther is leading you and helping you, you will have advantage on this charisma check also. So everybody, for the first dance of the night at the spring ball, make a roll.
I do have performance.
Oh, you have performance? Awesome. Use that. If you have performance, just use performance with advantage.
Boom.
And I'll be using my skill to try and make it so that if Jessup makes mistakes, to try and
Boom.
make it easy for her, help her.
Idris
I'll
dropped the
use
crit.
inspiration to make that happen.
Go for it.
You have an advantage, by the way, Jen.
You already have advantage. You don't have to.
Oh, I
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can burn a hero point if you want more firepower.
Jenna's got to roll another d20 because you got
Yeah,
advantage.
she's got advantage. Yeah.
Excellent. So,
Oh,
Oh,
look,
Nice.
yeah, very nice.
performance
I'm not gonna get jailed for my dancing. Woo!
and
Drop the 4. You don't want to get caught prone on the dance floor. You could be knocked unconscious. You know, it could be.
Okay, so in the dance-off, we have a 27 from Idris, a 22 from Delbert, a 17 from Jewnnabink. So Jewnnabink is like, you do fine, Jewnnabink. You do fine. You comport yourself as well as any of the ladies of the court, all right? And the king is coaching you through all this, and he's doing it in Gnomish, all right? So he's coaching you through all of this as you dance, okay? And Idris...
it's just like an alchemical formula.
Right? He's giving me instructions in engineering. It's beautiful.
You do the
So-
one thing before the next, but just follow down the list.
1, 2,
So-
3. 1, 2, 3.
I got to tell you, all right, that Delbert and Idris, all right, are cutting the rug, okay? It's notable dance. Now, Idris is just like, damn, the only person out dancing you, all right, when it comes right down to it, is Alwyn Moreland. And
of course.
Alwyn Moreland is scooped up Aldrich, who is one of the King's Guard, and she's dancing with him. And so it ends up spiraling down to the last 3 couples, and people sort of back themselves out to watch as they're impressed with what you're doing. And you dance down, and you dance down, and you dance down, and Delbert, you're finally like, okay, Jessup, that's enough. That was good, and it's all right. And she's like winded, all right. And Idris and Alwyn Moreland dance, and go ahead and give me an insight check, Idris.
Numbers. There it is.
Okay. Alwyn bows and steps back with Aldrich, and you finish the dance as the lead dancer with your partner.
Gotcha.
All right, and
And do
she
the whole, you know.
she is
I know.
she is flushed. Your partner. All right. She is flushed. She is, red in the face. She's just a little bit. I mean, Kasuli's a little bit kind of
She's a whole
smitten.
2 years older, I know.
Right. Well, she's a little smitten. All right. She's a little, you don't think she's ever danced with somebody like this. All right. Ever been with somebody who was good at this particular social form. And she says, that, sir, was outstanding. And she curtsies to you and you bow. And that's it. And then they begin dancing again. And the rest of the night, until Uther chooses to talk to you, is going to be a little bit of dancing. Now, it's about 10 minutes of. I would like to, if you guys are okay with it, make certain that we have the conversation with Uther tonight before we close down. Does that work for everybody? Can we run over by about a half hour?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
I will, of course, make time to at least have a dance with Belinda and the other 3 ladies to make it
2 ladies.
where I didn't ignore them.
2 ladies.
The statement of intention is the first dance. The rest of the dances are polite. All right, unless you spend time dancing with the same person over and over and over again. And the king dances with everyone. And Jewnnabink, it was, go ahead and make a wisdom check for me.
Take my breath away. They do the lifts when they're dancing?
No, not at all.
Oh,
He was really nice. He was kind. He didn't seem to have anything other than, he didn't seem to have anything other than your best interest at heart. It was kind of awesome.
I go back to the chair that I had occupied and I sit down. I don't play with my notes anymore, and I just kind of stare into nothing.
rocking. Rocking. And Kura comes up and bends down beside you, and she goes, and she's the member of the King's Guard that brought you up. She says, "That was very well done, my dear. Thank you so much." And she doesn't have to thank you, but she steps away. All right, so everybody dances, everybody spins. PJ, do you want to? I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, you didn't suck, Jenna. That was pretty not bad.
Thanks.
Svale and Catfoot come back, and they were competent dancers. And Catfoot sits down next to you, and she goes, "Yeah, what was that? You got moves, sister."
I just, he told me to step at the cosine of the tangent, and I did that, and it worked out really well. And he was very good at explaining things in a language that I could understand. Quite literally, he was speaking Gnomish, which was quite, interesting.
You're a little flush when you're talking about the language he was speaking.
Royal consort. Nailed it.
Svale says, Svale kicks back, and he laughs, and he goes, "Mead! Mead! So let me get this straight, darling. You understand dancing through physics and calculus? Is that what I'm understanding here?"
Well, really engineering and procedure. Physics, I mean, gravity is gravity, so that doesn't really have an application upon the movement of dancing.
That's a yes.
Certainly.
Yeah, I get it there. I get it. Now, PJ, we're gonna step out of character briefly. Yep. You and I can handle the conversation with your dwarven contact next week. We'll do it in character.
Yeah,
all right. Okay, so it gets to be about 1:30 in the morning. All right. And the king steps out and he goes out of the room, and two of his guards follow him, and Jansen stays in the room with you all. And your mother comes up to Delbert and she says, "The king would like you to step into the conservatory, which is that room with all the white chairs, and would like to meet with you." And she lets you go. And then Idris, Reginald comes up, and Reginald says, "The king would like to meet with you in the conservatory." And you see Delbert take off, and this is about 2 or 3 minutes later, and you guys are all sitting at the same table, right? Mm-hmm. And that you come walking up. Jansen comes walking up, and Svale's still with you, and Svale makes eye contact with him, and Svale turns around and he says to Penny and Thieves' Cant, "Go meet the king and talk to him. Take Jewnnabink with you. It's in the conservatory, that room back there with their harpsichord. And you know that place. You've had Megan play music for you in there."
Okay.
And
we're supposed to go, I know you probably didn't catch that with the whole conversation. We're supposed to go over there and meet some people.
As in which people? Are these your kind of people?
No. It's like that royal guy I just met, Uth, whatever his name is, and the
yes.
Yeah, that guy.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
You're getting your face is turning all red again.
Let's just go.
Oh, okay. No, it's weird. Every time I say his name, your face just turns a different shade of color. But yeah, we can go.
I'm sure it's just some thermodynamic side effect of exertion. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
All right. Delbert, you step into the room, and the fetch is here also.
Okay.
All right. And also, Vincent Gnostic, the Inquisitor, is here. All right. So he's standing there. And the fetch is standing there also, as is the first sword. All right. So you've got the first sword there. You've got Father Endurin there. The room is filled with people of import. All right.
I sit as far away from the king as possible.
It's hard to sit far away from the king. He is sitting in the main chair, and they have a sofa and one chair. Delbert can pick where he would like to sit, and then the rest of you kind of have to sit on the sofa facing him.
Oh, my safe word is were-rats.
All right. Delbert, do you take the main chair or do you sit on the sofa?
I'm
Lounge
trying to
on it.
find the map.
Just take up all
Oh,
the
it's
signal attachments.
on the map. It's the white room, and you don't have to place your characters. It's the white room with the piano.
Okay, so Galen Manor ground floor.
Yep, I'll share it again. And it's that
And it's
room
the
right there.
circular room.
Now,
I am going to take the chair. I'm going to take the chair, not the sofa.
all right. So you sit down. That puts the fetch to his right and you to his left. Everybody else comes in. All right. The priests are sitting side by side, and there's more chairs in this room than are normal right now. All right. You've got his 3 guards standing there with him, and you've got the High Inquisitor, Vincent Northwick, standing there. And Uther says, "We are well met. This is a meeting of council with advisors that I trust, and we'll wait a moment." And then Svail steps through the door. All right, and he nods at Svail, and he says into Cry, "Brother," and Svail goes, "Sword, brother," and leans up against the door with his arms crossed. All right, just sort of rock, on his heel. And he goes, "This is a formal event of council. I am here to provide you access to your king based on the experience that he has had facing some of the challenges that you've had. And based on where you are in your journey, in your quest, share with you those things that I know and those things that I understand. Speak to me as you would each other. Speak to me in candor. Let it be known that if you attempt to speak a mistruth in my presence, you will be smitten and blinded. And this is how the land touches me and the power that I have in these specific sorts of events and meetings. If you choose not to speak, you choose not to speak. But I'm here as a resource for you. I'm here to assist you. And I'm here to understand what you see and what you have made of it. Thing 1, you all understand that reality shifts around you, do you not?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, kind of, yeah. That whole idea is still kind of fuzzy.
So you expect one thing, you come back to the surface, something is different, and then it reforms around you, correct?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate, yeah.
Yeah, like those were-rats.
Yes.
It's actually a function of multi-planar, multi-universe kind of conceptual things that have been previously researched, and now we're experiencing it. It's quite fascinating.
There's absolutely, what you're finding is permeability between different planes and different versions of reality. And if our Blackmoor functions as a central object, each other thing is a shadow beyond it, real in its own extent, but separate from what we are. So each possibility, each world is a many possibilities laid one upon the other. It's as if we could take one and break one into smaller fragments, and each of those smaller fragments is related to the original number, but shattered to a certain extent. Does that make sense to you, Jewnnabink?
Yes, that's actually a very astute observation and explanation. Yes, thank you.
Your face is doing that thing again.
Yes,
Ciao.
it is.
What would you know? Ask.
Personally,
So,
I would very much like to know if you know of any connection between I suppose have Idris, have you explained the whole like elf thing where the sword came from, and there were multiple other people that were involved with the sword, and they got taken by the coot and what have you?
And the names and the symbols.
Yeah, that thing.
No, but I believe my hand is ready and willing.
I have read the notes that the gatekeeper brought, and I have read the information that has been collected by the fetch. So I have some feeling for things, but I would like to hear in your own words exactly what you've encountered and what you think is going on.
I think some people were messing around with arcane science that shouldn't have been while they were setting up a colony for themselves, and somehow managed to cause all this to happen themselves. And in their traipsing around, They made a bad decision and decided to touch a door. All of them got sucked up and became pawns in some kind of larger game, except for the one that's trapped in the sword.
I object to that. Arcane science is separate from the magical arts. The magical arts are surely what got us into this mess.
And the Inquisitor says, Vincent Nostric goes, well, to a certain extent, that's true. One can understand arcane science as an incremental motion away from traditional arcane art. So it is a different branch in the overall tree of research. I would understand that, and I would support that. So
A lot of big talk. I thought you just cut pawns off of people and interrogated them.
So that's one of my skills, no doubt about it. But we have to know basic things also.
Wow.
The
Because last time it just
Cabal
seemed you
calls
were
that
real
Tuesday.
big into the cutty pot and less into the knowing stuff pot.
Well, one of the ways you become stuff is through the cutty pot. And Sveal kind of laughs at this. And the king holds his hands up. And he says, I see two things. I see elven prehistory at play and the establishment of a city here in Ringlow Hall by the elves directly descended from the Elfland. Aladrin, I think we call them. I think that is true. But I also see interaction with the Sar Agu. You're familiar, did you, in the dream that you have, and I'm assuming you've given him some backstory, and he's read about it.
Mm-hmm.
In the dream that you have, did you encounter lizard creatures, I guess is the best way to describe them?
At
So
the
like
very end.
men, sentient creatures, like our lizard men that we encounter, like the Wanti that we encounter, but different, a more primitive shape or form, almost like a Sahagin.
Only at the very end when they opened the door and the plane of water came rushing through were we able to see that glimpse right at the end. But we did find the notes that Vinny over there took.
World shudders. All right, the world shudders, and the king doesn't seem to be affected by it. All right,
There's lock number 2.
the the fetch isn't affected by it. You're not affected by it. All right, but there's just this brief stutter, and he goes, "You've encountered this before, have you not?"
Yep, it's blood drinking time.
No, it is not blood drinking time.
Well, not for you, but for everybody else who's bleeding throughout their eyes.
Do you really think we want them all to have the same access to information that you have?
Perhaps
I
not.
mean, if we're a council, right, aren't we supposed to be knowledgeable? Or is it like there's a circle and then there's a circle? And there's an outer council and an inner council.
All of these people I trust, all of these people can be compromised. And nobody else, everyone else is just frozen. Frozen. All right. And the king says, make your case if you think we should bring more people into this. But
Well, who
as
are the
I
ones that
understand
are-
it,
Who are the ones that aren't affected? Just him and the fetch?
that's it. Everybody else seems to be like in disjunction.
Okay. Nope.
Right
then
now.
I'm good. I'm good. He's got some guards. And
Okay,
some
so there's
small
two of
people.
the anchors,
So
the king and the fetch. We don't know who the third one is, but we know that it is not this is not a character, by the way.
I was waiting to see if he was going to say that.
yeah, because it looked to me like you just went, wow, so the two of you are anchors?
No, no.
Okay.
Man, y'all must be weighed down by something over there.
You dropped a disclaimer just in time, so you know. All right, just in time, because I was formulating the king's response.
But we know that it's not the High Inquisitor because he did not. He stopped. He was
That's
frozen.
what I was curious about. Like if he was
Well, he's not the High Inquisitor; he's an Inquisitor.
Yeah, so he's not high
Okay.
up on the chain.
Yeah, he's like in charge of the FBI Special Office for Atlanta, right?
Okay.
All right, so
Oh, that's right. There was one guy higher than him.
yeah,
That's the main
Really weird
position.
looking dude.
yeah.
And that makes sense that he is probably the other anchor, but he's not here tonight, is he?
Well, you also have the Spellwise. That's the person in charge of the Cabal. You got somebody in
a lot
charge
of
of
those.
The
yeah.
high
So you've
spell
got
wise, yeah.
high Spellwise.
Soul
So
bonus.
yeah, so it could
Okay.
that's a reasonable supposition. It's the high
He's
Spellwise.
holding on.
All right, so the king actually seems to be holding on to something, and he lets go, and everything stutters back in. And he says, so the Saragu, so you encountered them at the very end?
What was the thing that caused us to jump out when we said it?
It seemed to be him tying together those two pieces of information.
Oh,
When he-
I got you.
Yeah, when he tied those two pieces of information together and said that these are the two things that I've seen, a disjunction occurred.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yes, we only saw them at the very end. At the beginning of the vision, there were hordes of orcs chasing the elven group
Before they went through the portal.
And then there was
before
like
they
big
went
robot
through
things.
the portal. But here's the thing: the symbols, and you've read the reports, so you already know about the symbols. The symbols existed before they got there, so even that can't be the absolute beginning of it.
No, they said they
Because the
announced
symbols
some
were already
masters or
there.
something. Yeah.
Waiting for them.
I understand. So we don't know. I've seen those symbols. They seem to be elven.
It's
They-
their names.
It's their
The
names.
of all the individuals.
Yes,
So
it's
whatever
their
was,
personal sigils.
so you think whatever was there had pre-existing knowledge of who they were and prepared for them?
Yeah.
Yes.
Either has the ability to move around in time or is just really good at guessing.
Titania's still alive, but still around.
I'm sorry, what, Matt?
Is Titania still around, the queen?
Oh, the Queen of the Fairies, yes. Titania and Oberon are still alive. They're in Elfland.
Maybe you could talk to, like, we saw in the vision that they were sent by, like, these people, Titania and Elberon. They might know more stuff because they're the ones that, sent them there and all that.
The fetch goes, I'm on it. And you remember that he said he was going to reach out to his contacts in Ringlow Hall.
Mm.
So, yeah, I think that's a solid suggestion, Petty. And I'm going to see what they're willing to share. The thing is the elves, the Kamasti, they're from here. All right, and they are the Kingsguard are like they're from here. They're part of us. They're bound to us. But the Fae are the Fae. I mean, Oberon and Titania, for whatever reasons made sense to them, exiled or sent off a group of their kinsmen to come into this place and build a colony. So we're going to have to figure out what their motivations are, even if they've chosen to remember and hang on to that or not. But I'm going to see what I can do to get that information free from us. And at some point, you guys might have to go to Ringgold Hall yourself.
I mean, couldn't we just figure out how to talk to the other person still stuck in the sword? And I point at it.
So, now we could. And the king looks at that sword and he goes, I've seen that sword 4 times before. Only one other wielder has survived. And he gave up the sword because he said it was driving him insane. I think you met him. And you did.
Which one was he? Oh, which one was he?
He was the drunk.
Oh, he held the sword? Oh.
Yeah. And now you get that now. Because he talked to you about that sword and what it wanted and how it would push you. And he goes, so, does she talk to you, Idris?
Yeah. She does. People push me around a lot, so I'm kind of used to it. It's kind of like that background noise.
Background noise. That's an interesting way to put it. So, who's in charge, Idris? You or her?
Oh, I'm in charge. Yeah, I've had, I've had 21 years of practice with my father pushing her around. She doesn't know what she's dealing with.
There's going to be times, I'm absolutely certain, when she's in charge. You just need to be ready for that.
Yeah, and that's why I have Alwyn to practice with.
First Sword, Eliza says, at one time I attempted an exorcism, and I was unable to break the bond between the wielder and that blade.
Let me ask you a question. When you went to the Church of Odir, did you get a young priest and an old priest?
I am the High Priestess of Sakwin, but I will tell you that his head did spring around 360 degrees.
Everywhere.
Yes.
Beds jumping up. Gotcha.
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
So,
So she's in here too. The
oh yeah, First Sword of Lees is
Okay.
in here, and also the High Priest of the Temple of Odir. I mean, there's some big
okay,
guns
so
in
both
here.
of them are in there. All right.
Yeah. There's some people from the Regency Council that aren't here, but they're not in town.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right.
Okay, because it sounded like it was the guards, the fetch, him, the Inquisitor, and like one other person. Okay, so
Yeah. No, it's the First Sword of Lees, and also I didn't show you the pictures from all, but also the High Priest of Odir.
Gotcha.
All right.
Well, I mean, the thing that the thing that we're dealing with clearly isn't omniscient from what I can tell, because if they knew everyone was dumb enough to touch the symbols, which hopefully we'll never do, they clearly didn't realize that one of them would get pulled away. So maybe whatever's going on requires all of them to be scooped up in order for whatever it is to work. Maybe it's only working at partial strength right now, or whatever was done wasn't completed.
Maybe. And I think it's hard for us to tell. I will say this, that people's minds shatter based on what they're exposed to. For some folk, it is too much to have these different layers of reality presented to them again and again and again. And we have been... He holds his head down, and then the Inquisitor says, we haven't always been successful helping people's minds heal from what they see and what they encounter. So, how many versions of yourself can you look at, can you understand, can you process before that casts a horrible, horrible weight upon you? And the Fetch says, well, we've talked about this a little bit, and you understand what that does. It can break who you are. And there are some things when you touch them that force you to look at yourself in a different way and twist your minds. And the king says, so, how many of you have had moments where you thought your brain, your mind, your being was being shredded?
I mean, like, you're talking about in the dungeon or before that?
It's a direct result from interaction with the dungeon, Penny.
Oh. I mean, there's a couple times we've been, like, touched by things where we felt presence on our mind, but I wouldn't say we felt shattered. At least not me.
That's good. That means you're resisting it. Jewnnabink?
I would say that I've cataloged 4 different times, and with several times that it's very difficult from a self-inflection kind of situation to determine whether or not one was successful in avoiding that touching.
I understand. So what I'm hearing you say is that you've been exposed many times and you've resisted it several times. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Well, many is I would say a quantity greater than 4, and 4 is only the quantity that we've encountered.
2 for me.
4
2
times.
For you, 2 for you.
Delbert.
So far, I've resisted it every time, but I've been exposed a few times.
That is important. I must say that central to your success has to be figuring out a way to overcome this taint, because you will be exposed more and more and more, and to speak with complete candor, to give you complete clarity, no one has brought together the pieces in the way that you have as rapidly as you have. I've seen the sword carried. I've seen people have the flashbacks. I've seen people begin to understand and see the symbols and the creatures that are trapped within. I have seen people begin to understand how the planes come together, but I have not seen everyone pull them together in the same way that you have so far. So you are farther ahead, but I am certain as you descend, as you encounter more things, as you unwrap this puzzle, you will be exposed more and more, and you must figure out how to protect yourselves from this impact or how to heal from it.
Well, I would say, Your Majesty, that I have some hypotheses and some directions into engineer and arcane science, a method to prevent further exposures, but a grant would be much helpful in that respect.
As I understand it, you have not applied for a formal petition to make these items. Is that correct? Says the Inquisitor.
I believe I mentioned this to Fletcher Williams, but I certainly haven't mentioned it to your organization due to the fact that arcane science is not in your jurisdiction.
Idris laughs like he's like laughing over there in the corner.
So Fletcher Williams says, I've given them dispensation up until this point. And the Inquisitor goes, we'll need to review this and determine if what she says is accurate. And he says, fine. And the king says, enough. We will give you what support we can, as always.
Okay, I just need time, materials, and some funding. So that would be helpful.
You have access then, of course, to the libraries. You have access. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that was very helpful, and it certainly helps with my research, but I also have to engineer some things, which I have to do personally, so probably not much assistance there, but just, materials.
Please route all your requests through Fletcher. He will make an assessment whether or not he can support you fully in terms of cost. You are a first priority, and I would imagine he will only say no in extremis.
Okay.
Noise.
Also, as like the things we're fighting are typically supernatural in nature. It seems like things I ain't seen before on this plane of existence. Magical things would probably assist us in this manner in defeating them.
Things that are permanent are things that you carry out. Things that you purchase outside may not stay with you. You need to be aware of that.
So what you're saying is if we don't get it inside there, it might not work inside?
You might step out into a world close to what is, but not exactly right, and the item is gone. We have seen that happen.
Also, a lot of you guys have been saying like, oh, well, these are things other people have learned before, and it's amazing how you're all putting it together and all this stuff. But it would be kind of nice if you guys already knew all this stuff, if you could just tell us what we're kind of supposed to be expecting instead of just being like, good job finding out what other people found out, and getting horribly burned in your brains at the process of it.
Here's the problem we have, Penny, and it's a profound problem. What you carry into that space shapes what is there. Information that we give you that is outside of your experience can cause the dungeons to align in a way that may not be beneficial to you. So if I were to tell you exactly what someone else experienced and all the things that they learned, then you would believe that was what was within the dungeons, and it would shape itself in that way. We are better off, you are better off, and this comes from hard and bloody experience, shaping it yourselves as free from any information as you can possibly take from us. And if you'll note, all I have done is reaffirm what you've already brought to me and help clarify. I have not given you any additional information beyond that.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at, is the no information from you guys. But I understand why now. So I guess that kind of makes sense. You don't want us like going in there and making horrible monsters of things that other people have seen to kill us. That would be bad. So instead, we'll make our own horrible monsters from our scarred minds.
Exactly, Penny. Exactly.
I just got a question. What about those big old green crystal formations that we ran into that try and like suck you into them?
I'm not certain. They manifest themselves in different ways all the time. And what I think...
let me rephrase that. They bring the same kind of evil presence upon you.
We really needed to figure out what dinner was. And I had people lining up to talk to me about what dinner was going to be. So I had to... Did you see me channel, Father?
Yeah.
King Luther was like, just a minute. Call waiting.
All right.
We'll take the lamb.
Linda will take care of it with him.
Yeah.
So
you mentioned noise. I recall there being a queen of errant darkness who lives in Pandemonium, who was kicked out of the Seelie court and is the queen of the Unseelie court. And I seem to recall something about her standing in the as a bulwark against forces from the outer realms.
That may be true.
Maybe the reason she lives in Pandemonium is for the noise.
I have not, we have not considered that, but that bears additional study. And I think that's something that we will have to consider. I would say that what no one has figured out, what no one knows, is what lies beneath and what the purpose of this space is. No one has pieced that together. So I would say to you, what questions do you have? As I said before, I have not shared anything with you that you have not ever already discovered. Do you have any other things you would like to know? Any other questions that you have? You're muted.
What was the
Jenna?
furthest level they got down to? Any group? 'Cause, I mean, we're just at level 1. I mean, we're dragging up all this stuff.
15.
15, okay.
You seem to be very intelligent with regards to various arcane science. Are you familiar with in Idris's vision? He noted that there were large mechanical automatons that spewed lava. Do you have any knowledge of those? Do we have blueprints somewhere?
Your face is doing that thing again with the color.
Yes, there have been. There are constructs throughout that have been encountered. Different models, different designs, some of which that we can make, some that we cannot.
So just that's in the can't make category yet?
That specific type of thing, yeah, not at this point, no.
Okay, I'm going to assume that Jewnnabink still has her sheath of papers. She's going to find a fresh sheet and write that down.
So, yeah, and what the Inquisitor says is that some things are lost to us in time. There are some things that we can make, several types of golems that have not been made in the past, but there is also things, especially things that come from other planes, other places that are beyond our current ability to design. Knowledge is lost, knowledge is regained. And I think perhaps what you may find is knowledge regained.
What about those not all there together Moroccans? What do they say about it?
Who?
The Miroc worshippers, the Moroccans?
So that's an unknown at this point. We have not been able to get them to be as transparent on these issues as we'd like. So,
do you have what about creatures that talk when they're down there and don't? Is that because of like the black rocks that everybody wants to get supercharged from, or is that like something totally unrelated?
The Inquisitor says that's probably related to the disjunction. Would be my guess that the creature is from Shadow, a place similar to Blackmoor, but not Blackmoor. So earlier, also you mentioned there was orcs chasing the elves. Yes.
Yeah, a couple thousand of them.
All right. You of course know that King Funk has poured out and attacked us several times.
In the past, yeah. I mean, recently?
So, well, not recently. Well, recently based on the scale of what you saw, yes. So, I don't think I'm telling you anything you can't piece together yourself when I say that there is probably a connection to that realm of the orcs that is a constant and consistent presence because it has been a recurring theme.
So they just like keep streaming through these portals, coming through places? Showing up places they shouldn't be?
And Uther kind of looks at him and says, "You, quiet. Yes, I think that the orcs use it as a planar gateway to invade here. That they use the dungeons as a passage to other places that they can invade and dominate.
Boom. That's faster than walking. I got to get in on that. So,
How do they-
wait. Oh, go ahead.
How do they control these gateways? Are we able to do so?
We are able to fix our gates so when you pass out, it is the real Blackmoor. Now, what the issue always is focusing everybody's consciousness in such a way that they perceive in the same way, and the world you carry within you and that is fixed around you is the one that we are placed in, the one that is most real. And I believe they have similar abilities and similar powers themselves.
Is that why we shouldn't lose the seal?
Perhaps. Well, what else would you know?
Man, it's got a lot of stuff there.
Have you gone down in there?
Yes. Yes, I have.
And how far did you guys get? And what made you not keep going?
I am the land. I am the king. There's only so much risk I can take. Alwyn and the people I traveled with encouraged me to withdraw. Svenny went down next with his companions, and those men and women are heroes. Heroes in the truest sense. But there was the groups before, and then there was a change. Do you care to guess when the change occurred?
When the Freedy showed up?
When what showed up?
The Freedy, like 10 years ago? Or whether they stopped going in 10 years ago, wasn't it?
Oh, no. No, not the Afridi.
Or when the orcs came back? Is that what?
No, not the orcs.
When the egg of Coot started taking over the lands to the south? Is
To
it
the
south?
north.
I'm not sure.
To the north. Yes.
North.
When the egg manifested, things changed.
Luther's not, he's that old to 972?
Mhm.
Or are you talking about the last time they showed up?
When the egg's first invasion occurred, things changed.
So
He
he's
went
old.
in, he went in, oh man, he's looking good for numbers.
Yes.
So then he's older than he looks. That's the question. You're older than you look.
Time is inconsistent, as you've noticed. So the egg manifests, the timeline changes. It snaps and breaks. What happened before is different than what happened after. You have asked the right question, Idris.
Oh, I have a question. So if technically you're a different age than what we think you are you I can't remember the guy's name. Is it Carlos Andahar or the one that was before him?
No, Idris. I am 45 years old. We were in the dungeon. The Coot manifested, and the timeline changed. And we could trace the changes in the timeline back to when he first invaded.
Oh, I got you. We're in Hell Valley, and we branched off. I got you.
Hey, Mom, you left your
All
phone
right.
down here?
I have a mild family emergency, I think. I'm going to step off, and I will be right back, okay?
Give me my
Okay, 10-minute break then.
Yep.
Okay.
Go shower. Now.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Hey, everybody, we got some family stuff going on here with my sons. I'm going to hop off and take care of that. We will continue.